There we go. Oh, drop frames like immediately. That's neat. Fuck. I forgot to. uh, do- go. Okay. Let me just go put this on Twitter real quick and we will get started. It is unfortunately just me for now. So give me just, give me a mo. Do, do, do. Podcast. There we go. All right. Good evening. Good evening indeed, Draco Kraken. Well, hello out there. Welcome back to Table Talk, Discussion, and Discourse. I, as always, am your host, Alejo, aka Radon95, and it's unfortunately just me, as I said a few moments ago, for a little bit here, because my lads are not right here, you know. Um, it's just how it is. Uh, E for Texas, what's up? Slays, what's up? Have you seen the news with Paizo? No. That is something that I will look up. What's up? Paizo. Oh, the union? Is that the union thing? Uh, yeah, okay. Management misconduct allegations. Oh, that sucks. Unionization, yeah. Up August. Um, I did not see this until right now, but that was like the second thing that came up after I put in Paizo in space. Well, that's unfortunate that that is a thing. To be fair though, most most companies have some sort of issue um that is not really shown to the public, so it sucks. It really sucks. But I'm glad they're unionizing, I guess. If this is ultimately beneficial for the company, then good, you know. The sorry, I'm reading this article, like I'm skimming through it, and I see the excellent Pathfinder Wrath of the Righteous. uh, anyway, yeah. My Celestial Warlock went well last week. I'm the party's designated healer now, and how to not but how to not piss off my patron because my brother character is an Oathbreaker. Oh, yeah, that sounds like an interesting dichotomy there. Um, but good that it went well. Maybe because your brother's character is an Oathbreaker, maybe you can like try to appease your patron by saying that you're trying to guide him back to the path and have him repent for his oath breaking. Um and then your patron can be like, "Oh, okay, so do this." And then you'll try to, do things for them. Depending on what your DM wants. Obviously talk it over with your bro there. Um yeah, that goes. That's an interesting thing to have brothers in different situations and that kind of thing. Um but yeah. So welcome to the pre season 4 test of another thing, which is probably going to become the norm, which is reading comments, like actual video comments from the past podcasts at the end of the thing, as well as there is an announcement that I will make later on in the show. But for now, we will get kind of to the topic. Unfortunately, as I said, Aiden, or it is just me, but preseason 4.3, exactly. Aiden won't be here with us today. His internet is having the worst time, so he is unfortunately not going to join us, though Boo will, as he is a working man and he works late. He won't be here until after 9:30. So, yeah, that's that. Had to swap out from a dysfunctional necromancy wizard. My DM was cool with it. Oh, that's cool. Nice. Anyway, so today, the topic is, backstory, actually. Creating backstories well. Or at least, you know, having tips and such to create backstories better. We've talked about it literally one time before, and it's been quite a while since, and I don't remember what we said. You think I watch this show? That's crazy. I just talk on it. But yeah, so we're gonna look at a couple of videos, one of them being a Seth Skorkowski video, so I'm excited to watch that. Hopefully Boo will be here for that. One being from Roll for Initiative is the video we're gonna start with, in fact, which is titled TTRPG Character Backstory Family. So let me pull that up real quick right here. There you go. And we'll see how much there is to say off of this, and if need be, I will find another backstory video that's a little short, but this one is only like 8.5 minutes, so I'm excited to see what they have to say about making a family in your D&D backstory. Apparently YouTube's having a bad time with my connection to the stream, so I apologize if it's a little choppy or anything. Doesn't seem like I'm dropping anything, but who knows? Anyway, let us begin. Why don't we?
Hi folks, today's video is about creating your character's backstory and their family.
Okay.
So as you're creating your character, one thing that I think oftentimes gets overlooked is who your character's family is. You know, your character just didn't spring out of the air into nothing. And if they did, that's probably going to be a major thing in their backstory to keep in mind. But who their parents are, if they have siblings, maybe even going back and thinking about like grandparents or family lineage, that can help to inform your character, inform some character choices you're making, and also to help create a more complete, well-rounded character. So if you...
So first off, right off the bat, yes, it can. It absolutely can. You can, of course, do the stereotype, if you want, of I have no parents and I am sad. We usually recommend against that just because, again, it's not that it's bad, it is stereotypical, right? And you can work on it so that it's not like, you know, the everyone's dead and now I am sad and now I'm going for revenge, or everyone's dead and now I am angry and I'm a loner, right? Like, you can obviously make it so that it works out a bit better, and maybe it even ties into the greater narrative of your campaign. There was a character that I made for my Wednesday games before we started the new campaign that we're doing now, who his whole thing, and he didn't lose his parents necessarily or his family in the traditional sense. He was exiled, but His family was very trusting of everyone, really, um, because they were furbolgs. And furbolgs are very much more of a peaceful kind of people, at least with canonical lore from D&D. And so I decided to play with that a bit and have my guy be the outcast, and be like exiled because necromancers had come seeking aid and asylum, and once they had gotten that, then they had taken the corpses of the ones who came before, their ancestry, that were, buried generation by generation, in this, place, and they started raising zombies. And the furbolgs were like, "Oh no, that's fine. They're dead. They need to use them. That's okay." But my guy was like, "This is fucking so against every. Why would we allow this? Tradition be damned and all that kind of shit. Like them needing them, quote unquote, be damned. We got to stop this." And so he took a bow and he started shooting them and all that stuff. And the purpose of the character was to help with that campaign that we were doing and kind of help the party go towards like the end goal of the story, which was this big necromancy wizard man. That was going to be the big bad of the campaign. The end goal was for him to be a driving force, because Gimbal, my character before that, did not want anything to do with like fighting anybody, right? And I was having a lot of fun with the fact that that I didn't want to fight anyone, and I was kind of trying to find ways around that kind of thing while keeping him in the party and also having him fight when he needed to. He wasn't warming up to the fact, but he was definitely like going to help his friends, right? But ultimately, if you've paid attention to the podcast, I've talked about it a little bit. He eventually found something that he could not pass up. So that was like one of the biggest things that he could ever like do, and so he left that party. And then I created this Furbolg character. His name was Ericor. And so he was there so I could help with driving everybody towards the thing. So that's a way that I kind of used the losing your parents but not necessarily losing them, like killing them off, and having that exile and such. Excuse me, miss, my character springs out of the ether and it's a great plot hook because I'm the party MacGuffin. Yeah, so that's the other thing. You can have that be also the case. Again, as you say, in that, you are the MacGuffin. You have a lot to, like, God, that seems so important, and you seem so central to the thing. You become the main character in a way. I hope you're, like, if you were to have that happen, if the DM were to really, like, do that, and allow that to be, like, a big plot point, I hope they have a plan behind that to not make it so that everybody feels like this is about you, It is about everyone and not just you. Obviously, maybe it's something that's more of a slow reveal, I guess, in which you find out after a while that your coming into being is kind of your coming into being is kind of a catalyst, part of a catalyst of what's happening, but, maybe not. Who knows? What about a Yuan T that had to ditch his home because a hag, pixie, some other fae cursed him with wind magic rage, and now he's wandering around trying to find a new purpose with his new emotions. I'll be looking to make a wild magic barbarian snake. Yeah, I mean that's fine. Are we talking about a Yuan T pureblood? Because if we're talking about a pureblood, then there's like you don't have to worry about the people, seeing you as a Yuan T immediately, right? If we're talking about Yuan T that aren't purebloods that have a little sneakness, it depends on the setting, right? Yes, okay. So if it's the Yuan T pureblood, then yeah, That that's fine. That sounds cool. Absolutely. Nothing wrong with it. I'm really surprised how little I've had people want to tie their character to the world's nobility through like background family. Wonder why. Good question. Um for me personally, I don't want to be that well off unless I can do something interesting with it, right? Because like I guess it's so having somebody be noble means they have a lot of attention drawn to them, right? My my noble character that I made, who had a background who was a noble, was a shadow sorcerer, dragonborn, who in the setting, came from a dragonborn village, or sorry, dragonborn town, really. No, it was a city. Sorry, that doesn't technically matter, but it was a city. And they were against magic, like the use and practice of magic. They knew it existed, like it was a useful thing, but they did not want that in their city. Now, that being with Dragonborn, that's a little interesting, isn't it? Because they have their breath. Is that magic? No, it's biological, I guess. It really depends on what your setting thinks magic is, and how they consider dragons and that kind of thing. But for my noble woman, she was on the run and also in exile. I like being weird. Not weird, but like in exile. It's a nice little thing. She was in exile because this shadow sorcery had been thrust upon her by accident. She had touched an artifact that had been recovered that bound itself to her and gave her the shadow sorcery magic, right? And so that was like the source of her power. She also found its use in like giving her the ability to use it in order to help people who were more downtrodden, who weren't in the nobility and all that stuff. She was a good person. um Not a haughty tawdy noble, if you will. And um and it was definitely one of those things where in that campaign we were encountering a lot of nobility who might have recognized her, and I eventually got her to run because then I got Gimbal back in. But with that, it's like you get that intention and sorry, attention, not intention. And if your character is trying to hide from it, it can be something that kind of affects that whole party. And if it's something that your character uses to its advantage, it can be something that benefits the whole party in that way. It really, I think it depends on how you want to play with it, and having it be where your nobility is a little too beneficial can be it's not bad. It's not something that I want to do personally. Um ba, 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 ba. So when the GM allowed me to do this, it wasn't to make it a main story plot point, but because of how my exotic how exotic my race is and the purpose and creation behind it. It helps me uncover alien plots. Oh, that's cool. Yeah, absolutely. That sounds super cool. And yeah, you could also have it just be not a plot point, right? Just like you're saying. Then it makes it fine. No problems. Anyway, continuing on.
Creating a character that doesn't have any family. If you're an orphan, that's also something to keep in mind. If you do have an idea of who your family is, that's something you might mention to your game master ahead of time. But if not, how does that affect your character?
Interestingly enough, my character Gimbal was an orphan, but I never specified whether or not the his parents were dead or not. I didn't it it didn't matter to me if they were alive or not. It wouldn't have mattered to him because of his orphanage. Or sorry, him growing up in the orphanage, because at that point, he's accepted the fact that he's an orphan. And in his characterization he wouldn't have cared later on, but it was also there so that the DM could like do something with it if potentially they wanted to make my family appear. um I had a bunch of plot hooks for Gimbal. Man, I miss Gimbal. Damn. Anyway.
Is that something that they are driven by to find out who their family is, find out kind of who they are? That's a definite choice you can make. Or if, on the other side, if they don't care, why don't they care? And maybe that helps inform some of the choices that you will be making as your character. If you do have family, that's something to, maybe not flesh out. You don't have to flesh out everything with them. With Key3, I did not have the entirety of her family fleshed out. Mild spoilers if you didn't know Key3 had family. But I won't go into too many details for the Too Many Warlocks game. But I did have some broad ideas. I knew that she had a grandfather who was very important to her, who had passed away, and that she had some other living family. And that definitely informed some of the choices that I made, because she is aware, if you have a character that does have family that's still alive, why did they leave their family? What was it that caused them to leave a comfortable home environment? Or maybe it wasn't a comfortable home environment. Maybe they didn't fit in. So that can help inform the character and inform the choices you're making.
Well, overall, so this raises a good kind of point for your character's backstory in general. Why are they an adventurer now? Right? You never really, like, you don't have these people becoming an adventurer for no reason, right? Well, that's not true. Sorry. Most of the time there is a reason behind it, whether it be personal glory, money, they're bored with their home life, they have a terrible home life, as said, or terrible family, or they want to make their family proud, or there's a number of different reasons, but having that be kind of a clear, like, thing that you have, that why your character is an adventurer now, because being an adventurer is fucking dangerous. It's fucking hard and fucking dangerous, okay? Depending on the setting, of course, as well, but, like, if your character is willing to go out and fight monsters, or be a mercenary, or any of that stuff, because they know fighting is going to get them paid, why aren't they, just doing something in town instead, right? Like, to be fair, some races might just adventure for shits and giggles, depending on the wording of their lore. That's also true. Like, it always depends on what your character is like, and if it's a race thing as well. Like, if your species is known for adventuring even more than most other species, then, like, that can also really, it also then adds to, like, the culture as well. It can add to, because if your DM doesn't have a culture really already made for your people, then you can kind of have that be something that helps inform them. It can also help with the world building of the game. You can help with how the interactions between your people are. Like, if you go and find a capital city, quote unquote, of like, let's say Tortles, okay? I don't know about the real lore of Tortles, but Tortles are on my mind, so let's do it. If your Tortles are known to go out and adventure, then that would be something that changes, like, excuse me, that would change how, like, maybe their cities are constructed and how they interact with each other out in the world, or when they come home. Like, oh, tell me the stories that you've accumulated of going out and being a part of this grand world. Or is it maybe something that's the more glory that you get for your people, you are looked at better in your society, right? Like, or is it something that you adventure because otherwise there is no money being made by your people, right? Like they don't have anything that they can trade or something, or maybe their trade is service, right? To be a mercenary or be somebody who goes out and deals with problems, right? In general. Maybe that is how your people make their money, and then due to that it's like a communal wealth kind of thing that goes towards the betterment of all of the turtles, say. I don't know, just spitballing a bunch of things at this point. um is everyone's favorite table flipper, but that guy's not here, so they'll have to make do with me. Good evening. Oh, hey, Steely, how's it going? Yeah, so um it really it's a big question, right? And it's an important one to ask, and it's an important one to keep in mind, because if your character is going to continue adventuring after their first go through, right? After their first, if let's say you've made your character who has never done anything like this before. Let's say you're playing as a young character, younger than usual. Say they're maybe 18, maybe 17, whatever you want to say their coming of age is, right? They become an adult. And you have them go through their first ordeal being this level 1 character. If you're starting at level 1, this is an assumption. And you have them go through their first ordeal and they kill something. Now, whether or not it's a monster, whether or not it's a person, right? That would affect them in some way. Are they going to continue to adventure because of this? And if you want this to just be in your backstory regardless, then this is something that you have to kind of figure out. What has this new quote-unquote profession changed them in such a way that they are going to continue doing this? Like, has it taught them something? Do they just like it? You know, are they psychopathic in a way? Because they just like the idea of going out and killing things? Is it an honor thing? You know, is it like all the things that I described before for that hypothetical turtle culture? You could slot whatever in there. Or is it just, is it necessary, right? Do they not like it, or is it, but it's a necessity in order for them to live and send money home? That's another thing. Sorry, my brain is going a mile a minute right now, but forgive me. If you need me to clarify on something, let me know. But before I forget it, I need to talk about this. If you have family, since we're talking about family in this video, I know I'm going off topic beforehand, but in this case, it actually has something very much to do. Does your family matter enough that while you're making your money, while you're adventuring, while you're doing whatever, are you sending some home? That can be something that can be a big part of your character, right? If you have a family, are you helping to support them? Hey Pizza Funk, how's it going? Are you supporting anybody, even if it's not your immediate family? Let's say it's and by immediate family I mean like parents, right? Parents and brothers and sisters and all that. Is it your wife and child, or husband and child, or combinations of the many, you know? Whatever you want your character to have at that point. Are you sending money home for that? Is that the reason why you're adventuring? Right? They can be your rock and your reason. There's so much to do with your backstory with this. And like, in play as your character, try to utilize that if that's the case, right? Try to utilize and find something that just is a reminder, I guess, of your character in the in how they have a family. Whether it be sending money home, or whether it be like writing them letters and just sending those away and telling them of tales of what you're doing. Or if you want to have the dead family member angle, maybe they pray and kind of like, or not pray, but talk to their dead family as they're continuing their journey, right? Something like that. Do you have any recommendations as to how the GM should handle something like family? Should the GM play the family or the player, or does it depend? I like the idea. So, okay, if you have a family that's kind of fleshed out in a way, I feel like it's fine for your GM to play the family. Um, there's and if you don't know exactly how your family wants to act, but you have a general idea, you can have your GM kind of play into that and try to highlight some stuff. Ultimately, what I think should happen is for you to discuss this with your GM, right? If your GM is willing to play that family, then have them play that family. But if they're not, and sorry, not just that, but if you are willing to see your family being played out, right, then have them play it. But uh oh, I say it depends on the GM and how detailed the family is and how much you want to incorporate in the game without it being overbearing. That is also fair. Usually a family aspect doesn't come into play unless you go and visit them, right? For whatever reason. If your family is, say, let's even go with the nobility thing from before from Draco Kraken. If your family is a noble family, right, and you need money right now, and your noble family man goes, I can go and ask daddy. We can go and talk to daddy and see if he'll give us a small loan, right? Um, or whatever you want at that point. Um, I feel like it should be something that your GM can do, and honestly, it's up to the player if you want to really like hash it out or not, right? Because not hash it out, but play it out, because then they go, yeah, I want to see this as I want to have this be a role playing moment. I want you to be the family member at this point, and we can kind of go through and talk about, and you can see my side of like how my family lives and all that. Um, and like you can talk about, and you should talk about how you want this to be if you were to ever do that, right? Your family could send a servant to check in on you every now and then as a noble, up to you and your DM. Yeah, that's also true. You could have something like that. You could have it be that that they send out you know even maybe another family member who also is like well off and able to hold their own enough, maybe not to the degree that your character can, but can do it enough, will come and try to find you if something should happen. um Hell, using family for a plot hook as well might be very beneficial, because maybe your family member of yours is struck by a plague. You got to go back, right? Unless you don't give a shit about them, but at that point, why would they be used in this way? um Maybe they've been struck by a plague and now you want to go back to figure out how to stop the plague, or um try to figure out how to save your family member, or just go back and kind of mourn them, be with them in their final moments. Have it be like something that you can bond your character with your party members, even by letting them in a little bit to see you in this moment of weakness. um there's a lot you can do. But yeah, so in the sense of the GM playing your family, I really think it does depend. It more depends on the player and how comfortable they are with it, and if they feel like the DM can do a good job or not. A campaign that I listened to from High Rollers, if any of you know them, uh, their first campaign that they did, Lightfall. There was a point in there that there was family nobility done and all that kind of stuff, and they were pretty important. They weren't overbearing or anything. I don't think they were there in the world, and occasionally they interacted. They interacted when it was important and such, and I honestly think the GM did very well doing their family of the one of the PCs when they visited them. um it's something that, again, your mileage may vary. but I think honestly a GM can do it just fine, you know? Um just in general, cuz otherwise if the player wants to do it, that's a lot of steps, you know? If at that point I would rather them just say I don't want to roleplay this out, you know? Because I feel like the player just taking over the family and what they would do, like they have an idea of what they would do, but also like I don't know, it just feels a little strange to me. But again, up to the player. Let's continue.
Using inform a lot. And not only if your character has parents, living parents, and what the relationship was between your character and your character's parents, but also do they have siblings? And what age are their siblings in relationship to them? Are they the oldest child? Are they the youngest? Are they stuck in the middle? Did they have one sibling? Did they have none? Did they have like 10? That can help create good motivation behind some of the choices they make. You know, if they came from a family that was a big family that was constantly bickering, then the inner party bickering, they either might be really good at handling and smoothing things over, or that might be something that they're just like, nope, my family's like this, I don't want my party to be like this. And so it helps create that backstory and foundation for you to help create a much more well-rounded character. Now with a character I played in our Shadowrun game, I had created in the backstory that her twin had died in one of the, I'm forgetting the term for it. I'm sure if you know the term, let me know down in the comments below nicely. But it was one of the big like internet type crash things that had killed her brother because he was wired into it when it happened. And so because of that, just thinking over that, Tala did not want to have anything to do with tech. And that was something that when I was rolling up the character, I was like, oh, I've put nothing into the tech side of things. I put it almost all in the magic-y, talking to people side of things, because that was what I created the character to be. So then as I was filling in that family backstory, that helped fit the story to the mechanics of the character. And that's another thing that you can do. There are elements of Key3's mechanics that I kind of, as I was filling in the backstory, it was like, oh, hey, this works out really well because it lines up with the mechanics of the character.
Yeah, obviously. I guess it's always hard for anyone to talk to themselves also. Oh, yeah. Oh, it's, yeah. This is why, having a, when you, this is why when you have your DM talk to your NPC that you have brought along with you, it's always gonna be a little awkward for the DM. It's funny on occasions, and they'll deal with it well or they won't, you know, they'll just have it be a thing or not. But it's also, it's one of those things that's kind of hard. But what she had just said about using your mechanical stuff in order to create your backstory, very very much a good tip, I would say. With the I usually go and make the character first before I start thinking of the backstory, and I usually play the character first before I start thinking of the backstory. I usually have an idea of what I'm doing, and what I want the character to be, right? But in order to kind of flesh that out, looking at your skills, what you've taken, what you're specialized in, more so at least, that can really help with figuring out what your character did before. Now, with someone like I will say Shadowrun has a bunch of things built into it that encourage players to think about runners' connections and relations. Yeah. I don't know about current Shadowrun, but it seems that way, at least, from what I have seen. I would also say Vampire. Vampire does that really well. In fact, in Vampire, you need bonds and uh touchstones and such that you use to center your humanity, right? And that becomes like, and Call of Cthulhu also has, or sorry, not Call of Cthulhu, Call of Cthulhu can, but what I know of more so is uh, Delta Green. Delta Green also has these people in your life that you do this with. Your relationships with them, in fact, your relationships with them deteriorate because of all of the missions that you take. But with Vampire as well, kind of calling up those people that you know, even if they're fellow vampires, but with touchstones, they have to be human. Um, so any of these people can really help with, or they are kind of required, and so it really helps you with like, why is this person your touchstone? Are they your touchstone because you don't want violence against, anyone? You don't want religious hatred. You don't want um uh children being subjected to violence. There's a bunch of different things like that in the book, that you can use to kind of figure out that stuff. And then on that, you can then flesh it out more and figure out like what you do, or what got them to that point. Like, I remember I was working with a friend making their character, and we were going through the touchstones and stuff, and eventually we settled on one being an old war buddy from like, I don't think we described what war it was, but vampires, so any time before like in the 40s or so. um and having them be their touchstone because of that fact that he had been to war and he had saved this man, or they had saved him, one or the other. I can't remember that specifically, but they are, his touchstone, and he is a valued member of his life, and somebody that I can use to call up and be like, hey man, what's up, with a plot hook. Um, but I think the backstory before the character, just because I'm wishy-washy with the more mechanical aspects of character creation. And yeah, that's also fair. With the backstory before the character, that helps with the mechanical side, right? They go hand in hand. If you make your backstory being you were, let's say when you were growing up, you learned how to hunt in order to help with taking care of your family on the farm, right? Like, you have nature, probably you have survival, probably as skills that you can take, right? It might inform you to be more of a bow user, or maybe even not. I don't know. Boo is here. Give me a second, let me get him in.
Oh,
Hello. How's it going?
good. How goes? Are we on the air?
Yes, we are on the air right now.
Like a radio show. Even
Like
though
a radio.
I guess we're live.
Yes, yeah.
So I have a question before
Okay.
before you do anything.
Sure.
Is this one where I will need to be paying close attention to like a document or anything, or can I paint while we do
Oh,
this?
you're good to paint. Don't worry,
Oh.
you're good. We're going over videos on backstory.
Okay. And so watch together.
Yeah, just watch together. Okay, so yeah, what was I saying before? Oh yeah, so if you come up with your backstory before, making that be part of your how you kind of devote things to your mechanical stuff, absolutely
Yeah.
works very well.
There was a character that I wanted to make where I was asking Brogan, I think, and I don't no, actually I think I asked the collective. I asked the hive
course.
mind.
Yes.
And basically what I was wanting to do was have like a fighter and swap out like some fighter specific feats for one particular rogue feat, and I basically just wanted the one that was like I think it's like Artful Dodger or something that rogues get.
Yes.
Yeah.
Something like that, yeah.
Or Cunning Dodge or something. I don't really remember. But basically, I
Cunning
wanted
Dodge.
to swap out a fighter feat for that. and I
Okay.
wanted to be a battle master because basically I just wanted to make a fighter that got in there and did a lot of like acrobatic stuff.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah. So kind of like because the character that I wanted to make was actually going to be like a dancer, and it was
Mm-hmm.
going to be like a combination um rogue slash battle master fighter.
Mm.
So instead of using battle maneuvers, they were dance steps.
Right, 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 right.
And so, if you're literally dancing around the battlefield, that would involve a lot of like movement and also
Yeah.
trying to avoid being hit.
Wasn't
But
wasn't there in 3.5, wasn't there a Shadow Dancer? Wasn't that a thing?
boy, it sounds like something that existed.
Shadow Dancer is ringing my bells right now. Hold on. Shadow Dancer. Ivy? Huh.
No, it's probably
Uh,
in like Unearthed Arcana now.
yeah, probably. Oh, Shadow Dancer's a monster in 5e, that's why.
Oh,
But
weird.
it's the Shadow Dancer was in 3.5 and Pathfinder 1e. There you go.
Yeah,
Um
yeah.
yeah, Shadow Dancer in 5e is referring to the elves that are in uh
The Shadow fell.
Shadowfell, yeah.
Yeah.
That is a type of them.
hmm
Pathfinder 2e has Shadow Dancer as an archetype. There you go. It was a
And
prestige class in
actually,
3.5. Yeah. Okay.
now that you mention it, I have the monster books that I always plug, the ones from Kobold
Yeah.
Press. There is actually a monster that is a Shadow Fae or a Shadowfell
Mhm.
Fae Shadow Dancer.
Nice. There you go.
Yeah. But
Also
yeah, I wanted
dance.
to make that kind of dancer thing,
Yeah.
and that was a part of the backstory. So that's
Yeah, yeah.
incorporating the backstory into the character. Anyway, sorry.
No, you're good. Also dance fighting capoeira, maybe? Yeah, capoeira.
Oh,
Very cool. I
is that how it's
Dude,
pronounced? Capoeira?
I think so.
Let me see.
Um, that's how I've said it and how I've
Yeah,
heard it said.
because I know I've heard. Uh,
I could be wrong though. I'm willing to be
yeah,
wrong.
I don't remember how it's pronounced. Now it's gonna get me.
Yeah. Um, but yeah. Oh man, capoeira is cool. It
Yeah, no, it's
reminds
really
me of
neat.
Street Fighter. That one character, just capoeira. I don't remember his name. Anyway,
Yeah.
so continuing on.
Of with why she does things and who her family was and her relationship with them. So sometimes it is creating the mechanics to fit the backstory, but you can also do the opposite of come up with character and then
Yeah, there
find
you go.
ways for the backstory then to explain maybe some of the mechanics. But yeah, that family history for Tala, I don't think it ever came up in our main game. Other than she just avoided tech. Whenever tech came up, she was like, hey, I'm not the expert in this. We have somebody else on the team who is. I'm going to default to them. But we did play one side session that Ryan actually ran, and our regular game master got to then sit in and play. And the guy that may have caused that major crash was an NPC we needed to work with. And so that turned into this really interesting, which Ryan didn't know. He didn't know that element of Tal's backstory when he created this one shot.
Mm,
So that created a really interesting tension because, a little bit of metagaming, I had to figure out, okay, why would Tala work with this guy?
mm.
And we figured it out, and I kind of brought it up to Ryan. He was like, oh, okay. And so it turned into I'm going to take this job because I agreed to take this job, but I'm not going to have this guy's back. So that was, and made a really interesting story and moments that I wouldn't have had that if I hadn't of come up with the family backstory for Tala. So
Like, as said, right? Having a family gives you so much opportunity.
Yes.
And like, I like the idea of having it be that something like in your backstory will make you kind of buck up against what the party needs at the moment. Like, obviously
Mhm.
not to such a degree that it becomes a problem, but even so, if it does become like a problem between characters, ooh, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Ooh, we got something, right? Like, but it doesn't. You don't want it to be like slowing down the game, so you gotta kind of. Unfortunately, obviously, we all go. This is a game. We gotta kind of keep going. But
Yeah.
and you can't really, unless you have all the time in the world, you can't really figure out a way to like. You need to figure out a way to hash it out and just like
To
continue
keep
on.
playing the game.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
So in that respect, then hey, you got to metagame a bit.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, right?
It's a
Like
little
was
unfortunate when
said.
you have to, but I mean,
Yeah,
but yeah, you're there to play the game, not to
exactly.
get bogged down in that stuff.
hmm hmm screw the family. It's all about me. Exactly. Yes. Um.
Something to keep in mind as you're creating your character, if you really want to have a well-rounded, fully fleshed out character, one way that you can help to do that is to come up with family for
mhm.
your characters. Plus,
Yes.
if you do have family in the world, that gives the game master some great threads to pull on.
Mhm.
Story-wise, motivation, if you have a bad relationship with your family, that can be the like, oh no, the family showed up and I don't want to be dealing with them. So
Mhm.
maybe that like a negative story thread instead of a like positive pushing you forward story thread. It's pushing you in a different direction. It's kind of a nice gift to give the GM and say, here you go, have fun working
Here you
this
go.
into
Here's
your
my
story.
family.
Or the like, here you go, here, I'm giving you a gift of ways to pull at my heartstrings. So if you've created any family for one of your characters, I'd love to hear about how that worked out, maybe a little bit about them. Or if you tend to play characters that don't have any family, how do you find that that maybe changes how you play that character? I'd love to know more.
Honestly, another thing about, because I was talking about it before when it was kind of brought up. Another thing about having no family is something that can kind of like evolve into your character kind of considering the party as family, right?
Yeah.
Like becoming their new family, right? Getting
Hmm.
that relationship that they never had.
Hmm.
Um, as long as you know, they're willing to do that. Obviously,
Yeah.
usually,
Yeah.
this
Yeah.
the stereotype is a little with it because they have no family.
Yeah. And
Um,
so they're yeah.
but usually, I mean, if you go past the stereotype and you have it be like they're a little harder to work with, but they still work with people and all that kind of stuff. They don't open up as much. You can have them soften up a bit with the party and all that stuff, and
Yeah.
get them
Uh,
to really bond.
Yeah, and then one of the interesting things that you can do is if you have a character with no family, it can be interesting to actually take that in in the opposite direction where they are looking for that family,
Yeah, there's also that.
like they're actually
Absolutely.
trying to,
hmm
and that kind of puts a whole new spin on it because usually it's the other way around,
Yes.
at
Actually,
least in terms of like rogues and stuff.
yeah. Yeah, in the campaign that we were doing before on Wednesdays, before we started the new one,
Mhm.
one of the characters was looking for their family,
Mhm.
and their family was technically looking for them, but not really,
Okay.
because they thought they were dead, I think,
Mhm.
or something, or I don't know what it was, but yeah, so in that was actually a plot point and a plot hook for us that we took, and we were like, yeah, let's go.
Mhm.
And then eventually got them with family, and that character retired and was like, I'm gonna stay with my mom. I haven't been with my mom for a long time.
Fair enough.
Right. And so, and it was a good excuse as well, because the player was also like, my character is too powerful. I don't want this.
Okay.
It was a paladin. It was a
Ah.
paladin. Yeah. He was just
Yeah.
like, I've been trying to like not be, but man,
But
you can't
paladins,
help
my
it.
dude.
Fucking, if you crit, you can choose to fucking pump divine smites into it and just double them. Haha.
Yeah, it's like what
it's
the
it's
fuck.
crazy. Anyway,
Yeah, you got to make
yeah.
sure that people don't stop doing nothing but rangers, though.
Yeah,
They're
exactly.
the strongest.
That's true. Anyway, that's the end of that video, basically.
Mhm.
All right, it's a good video. Like,
Yes.
it's just
The 3 minutes that I saw was good.
yeah.
Well, the 3 minutes that I heard, really.
Yeah. So moving on, let's just do some shill talk real quick because we are
Mm.
at somewhat of a midpoint.
Mhm.
And the rest of it will be devoted to that, and then we'll do comments at the end, as previously stated.
Mm.
So, hey, Patreon, that's a thing.
Oh
Neat.
man.
So we are found on patreon.com/tabletalk
Fucking hell.
DND. What?
Nothing. I just fucking got some blue on the brown and
Oh,
three.
yeah. And you can help contribute, and hey, we have a goal now. Way. Yeah, so we've been going to be doing some custom dice. Hey, that's gonna be a thing. Hey, Mug, welcome.
Hello, Mog.
So yeah, we're gonna be doing some custom dice, and we're going to need money to make those happen.
Mhm.
Using if you know of it, Q Workshop. We're gonna be going through them because that's the only place that I found. Okay,
That does like custom dice.
that does full dice set custom dice.
Ah.
Yes. I tried Chessex. I don't know of any others because I couldn't find any others because it's hard. Anyway, so if you want to contribute to the making of custom dice, consider subscribing to the Patreon or donating directly. There will be, there's a link on our website. And at some point I will set up a store on the website when we get them in and such, but it's a lot. And I will be fully transparent. Fucking dice cost a lot to make. And I only am going to make a little over 100. Have a little over 100 made. 100 sets, yes.
Okay, yeah.
A little over 100 sets made because it is going to be upwards of $1,500 to get them all made. But as an incentive of that, for those of you who have been part of the Patreon so far, and those of you who get to be a part of the Patreon at $5 or more, I'll send you a free set. You get a set. There's gonna be a set for you. You'll get a set, and you'll get a set, and you'll get a set. And I gotta figure out
not the 101st. You don't.
No. No, you don't get a set. But anybody who's not done that, then you will not
fuck
get
you.
a set. No, you will not get a free set. You will have to buy it.
Yes.
But this is just going to be a slow project. And we are like a fifth of the way there.
Okay.
Yup, it's a lot. But yes,
Yup.
so again, if you want to contribute to that, again, you don't have to. You don't have to if you don't want to. I will be contributing my own personal money to it on occasion when I have it, right? Like I'm just going to be funneling in my own funds.
When you can overcome your plastic crack addiction.
When I can overcome my plastic crack addiction, yes. Now I have Christmas to worry about now. But yeah, there's that, and paying for the internet and all that shit. So yeah, so that will be a thing. So thank you, of course, to our patrons so far. That is Draco Kraken, Mog Zero, Slazer, Steely. You're all at tier 4. Very much appreciate it for that $15 a month. Then, of course, Drake Cross at tier 3 for that $10 a month. Thank you so much. Then we have Chris, Frozen Spaghetti, and Kill Chrono at tier 2 for those $5 a month. Appreciate it to all of you.
Yay. Thank you.
Thank you.
We like your money.
Thank you so much. Your money will be put towards making dice.
Yes.
That is the goal at this point. We'll probably come up with another goal at some point once we get the dice made of like
coasters.
Yeah, of coasters specifically.
Everybody always wants the coasters for some fucking reason.
Hey man, Good coasters are good.
It's true.
There's a TableTalk pillow. What? Yes. So talking about that, hey, TableTalk merch is over on TeePublic. That will also contribute towards the Dice Fund. Don't you worry, because it all goes to the same place. The
plastic crack. No.
The plastic crack. No. But yeah, you can get whatever you want out of there. There is a TableTalk pillow. There's t-shirts. There's whatever else they got here.
It's a TableTalk body pillow, and the image is Aiden's head on the pillow.
No. We're not. Never.
If only.
Please, I don't want to be a body pillow. God.
Yeah, right.
But there are mugs and such. Like, they're out there.
Now that I said it, people are gonna want it.
I know. Is it a body pillow of our handsome host in a cuddle puddle? Oh god.
Ugh. I don't like that term.
Anyway, moving on from that. Yes, so there's a bunch of stuff over on We Demand a Body Pillow. Well, that's unfortunate for you, isn't it?
That's coming after the dice. If the dice get funded.
God. No, don't make me into a marketable plushie.
Fucking get on it.
No.
When the dice are completed, I mean.
Right. So, the plan is right now we've got the dice. Then we've got the idea is a dice bag. That is the next step, and then after that will be something else. But for now, we're just going to be doing the custom dice, and once we get enough, then we'll order them. Then we'll figure out all the shipping and stuff. I will probably message those of you on either Patreon or in the Discord in our Discord chat, secret Patreon Discord chat.
Right, the one that nobody uses.
And get that all set, and figure out how to get you things without revealing my home address.
Yes,
because I'll figure that out. Don't worry about it. It'll be fine.
It'll be fine. You don't have Hitler is a profile picture. It's fine.
Anyway, so there's that. There's that, and then there will be some other stuff coming as well. I did commission something else that I will be showing off once we officially start season 4. Not this week, maybe next week.
And sorry.
And then anything else? Oh, apparently community posts have been activated.
Huzzah!
We're not even at 1,000, but that's a thing now. Yay!
Huzzah!
Huzzah!
Now start posting to the community.
Yeah, that's a tip. That's a tip from Steely. Hang on. I gotta pull up what that says. Thank you, Steely. Appreciate ya. Let me go find it real quick, because I never expect for these fucking things, so I never have it fucking open.
Yeah.
Appreciate you for making me do this and showing that I'm not prepared for it.
That's okay.
Anyway,
we don't really ever expect money.
Yeah, exactly. Steely said, "Dice, need dice." Yes.
You'll get them. Calm down. Calm yourself.
You'll get them when they're ready. Yeah. But I have a whole lot of minis that need painting. I am here. Hey, Ratier, what's up?
Yeah, I do too.
Why don't you want me to know, guys? I'll only show up at your house 5 days a week.
No, that's true. Only 5.
Only 5. I mean, you give me 2 days off. That's pretty nice.
Yeah, that's pretty nice.
Anyway, so that's coming. I'll have another reminder later on. Other than that, yeah, the community posts are active, so now you can actually see on the YouTube channel when we have things that don't happen, because we can say that on there now. Because hey, also consider subscribing anyway if you're new. Wow. Anyway, instead of a dice bag, we get a dice tower that looks like a table on its side. Ooh. Oh, that's a cool idea. That is a cool idea. I like that idea. I might steal that idea.
You should write that down.
I'm gonna write that down. Write that down. Write it down. Table dice tower. I might have to learn how to do 3D fucking modeling. Oh god. It's never been something that I've been good at. Anyway,
Yeah.
help contribute to the Cuddle Puddle Pillow Fund. Oh God.
Well, there you go.
Anyway, so
It has
yeah,
begun.
it has begun. But yes, so you can either get something on the TeePublic, or you can get into the Patreon and get some free a free dice set when it comes out. No worries though, it will be a while.
Yeah.
I promise you. So, other than
I promise you, it'll take forever.
it will.
It just sounds funny, you know.
Well, this is the thing.
Yeah.
I originally made a quote for 100 D20s because I was like, let's see, 100
Yeah.
D20s. Maybe we'll just do D20s. Then I was like, full dice set though.
Yeah.
That'd be really cool, right?
Mm-hmm.
With the little logo on the most the highest face, yeah. And
Yeah.
like originally it was like, like $300 for 20s, for 100 20s. And I was like, okay, that's fine. And then I was like, but what if
Yeah.
what if we have a full, and I asked them and they were like, yeah, a lot. And I was like, okay, cool. So that's gonna take a little longer.
That's gonna take some time, but
Anyway.
okay. Yeah.
So thank you for if you do decide to donate. Appreciate you. And
We're gonna have our own dice.
we're gonna have our own dice, which I'm very
fucking
excited
weird.
for, right?
So are we gonna have special ones where like the fucking like a collector's edition where the highest face is my icon or your icon or Hitler or a swastika? Jesus
no,
Christ.
oh God, no. No. That's a way future idea. That's a great idea, but that's a way future idea.
The swastika dice?
No.
Okay.
God damn it. Stop. Another little bit of behind the curtain thing. Aiden and I were talking, and man, that was an interesting thing. The donate button on the website doesn't seem to be working. What?
You can fix it.
You can donate through the Nightbot thing as well. That's also a thing through Streamlabs. But I will check and troubleshoot that because I don't know. It probably costs more to make a full set because they would have to switch out the molds between runs. That's obvious. Yes, absolutely. It's a lot. That's only for 100 dice, guys. Like, I wish I could do more, but man, that would drive the price up a lot.
Yeah, that's okay. I mean, hell, we could always do multiple runs.
Exactly. It's a limited run for now once we get to that point.
Yeah, and
Again,
then when Jeff Bezos sponsors us, we'll do a few more.
Exactly. But yeah, good to know that donate button doesn't work. I'm going to the site right now to check and see why that is.
Yeah.
Because it's just an official donate button through PayPal. Like it should just work. Let me go over there really quick. Why it should work.
Maybe you were just out of money.
Maybe.
I mean, like that's
No.
half joking, half serious.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I don't know why it's not working for you. If it continues to be an issue, let me know.
Somebody else, quick, try to donate.
No, you don't have to. I will do some testing of it later. We'll figure it out. But anyway.
Yeah.
If you take over the tabletop world, take a step in the world of card games with tabletop card sleeves. Ooh, card sleeves would be cool.
Sleeves. Oh, yeah.
That'd be super cool.
I was about to say, it's like we don't have enough catchphrases to make trading cards, man.
No, that would be great.
Dumb as hell. He's talking about.
Oh yeah. Card sleeves. I'm writing that down. Thank you. That's a great idea. I actually would not mind that. Anyway,
God damn it, when you said I would not mind that, I always like the whole time I'm like, I would not buy that. That's a
No, I
great
would.
idea. I would not buy it.
That's that's the thing. See, that's the thing. If we had coasters already, I would buy those. I should
Yeah,
get a
right?
mug though. I really should get a mug. I do want a Table Talk mug. Um, I've seen silicon dice molds you can pour resin into. Yeah, but that would mean I would have to make them.
Yeah, and honestly, like working with resin, if you've ever seen anybody do like a 3D printer that works with resin, it's not easy to work with.
Yeah. Um, Guys, just become VTubers for instant success. Also, Aiden's icon as a VTuber model makes me smile inside.
Hey guys,
That would be so
does
funny.
the fucking Nazi salute. Hey,
That would
how's
be
it going?
so funny.
Welcome to
my
Third
God.
Reich streams.
Right. Oh God, no. With at least 83 episodes, I'm sure we can make multiple decks with catchphrases. Fair.
God damn it. So,
Yeah.
so the ultra rares would be break their, cut off their fingers,
Cut off their hands.
cut off their hands. Fuck, what was one of the other ones? Shit, I've forgotten some of the Goldie oldies or golden
It's been a
oldies.
while.
Damn it.
Anyway, yeah, it's complicated to do. My sister makes dice as a hobby, and it's quite good at it. Nice. Very
Wow,
cool.
that's cool.
Yeah,
So,
so
you
we'll-
should give us her email address.
No.
Or
Like-
Alejo, not me.
Yeah, no. Yeah, I would see if I could do it myself and do it reliably. That would be great. But, I shake.
Yeah, and you have a shitty filament 3D printer.
Yeah. My 3D printer is also purely plastic.
Yes.
And like, it's been really hard to fucking like get right. And also, I don't want to do it poorly. I want it to look nice.
Oh.
you know? What?
I thought you just said, I just don't want to do it.
Oh no.
Oh,
No, I want it to be good quality. That's the
Yes,
thing.
absolutely.
So that's why I'm going with Q Workshop. If
Yes.
anybody knows, like, if anybody finds anything that's against Q Workshop, then I'd be like, uh-oh. But for now, all I've seen are good things. So anyway,
Yeah, I mean, hell, they've been doing dice for a long time.
exactly. You can go to war for 600 days and only have 6 stories. That's true.
Right. That
One
one, yeah.
1 or 2 stories every 100 days. That's right.
Yeah.
Ugh.
God damn
Can't trust a man with olives can be the counterspell of your CCG.
Oh, for fuck's
That'd be
sake.
funny. Anyway, so yes.
I hate how good all your ideas are.
They're really good. I appreciate you all.
me too.
Yeah, other than that, as far as like shouting out and community stuff, I think we're good. There's I want to start some sort of video game server with everybody. Get us to do things. Probably not Minecraft, because that's
Oh, damn it!
no, probably not Minecraft. Sorry. No.
Like you said, probably not Minecraft. As soon as I was thinking, oh, we could do Minecraft or Tekkit, and I'm like, fuck.
Yeah, right. The TableTalk video game. What the fuck would you even do? We're fucking like, if somebody made a fan game of us, what the fuck would that even be? You know?
Dating sim.
Oh, there you go. So when are we getting the TableTalk add-ons for Warhammer armies? Oh, dude. If somebody were to make something that looked kind of like us in fucking Warhammer stuff, man,
I would lose my shit.
I would also lose my shit. That would be sick. Damn, and I'm still waiting for my Minecraft server to be done with maintenance, so there you go. Yeah, so probably not a Minecraft thing. Probably something more involved, because Minecraft gets boring way too fast for me.
Yeah, that's fair.
But yeah, we'll figure it out. I'll talk about it more in the Discord server. We'll figure it out. We can have people actually like hang out in the Discord in like a voice chat, maybe. What?
Yeah,
That's crazy.
we could do a VR chat.
I'm the only one with VR.
Oh, right. You know, I don't know why, but I didn't actually connect the dots that like, oh yeah, it's VR chat. You probably need VR in order to play it.
That's great. I love that.
Yeah.
Gary Bay is the final boss of this dating sim. He's trying to court you by using his knowledge to impress you.
Oh god.
You don't need VR for VR chat though? You don't?
Oh, okay.
That's
Yeah,
not, that's crazy. It's VR chat.
I
I don't know. Maybe they changed it in recent.
yeah. Maybe they maybe they did something. Who knows?
Yeah.
I don't.
I'm
I
looking
don't
at
play
it
VR
right
chat.
now.
I don't have it.
Right.
Not for any negative reason. I just don't have it.
Oh yeah.
Oh God, what have I done? Why
Weird.
have I done this to myself?
Runs in both standard and VR modes. Does not require a VR headset. That's strange.
Well, that's nice at least.
Yeah. There's a desktop.
So we could do a VR chat.
We could. Hey. Anyway, okay, so let's move on to the next video. It's a Seth Skorkowski video.
Huzzah!
Huzzah!
I've probably seen this one.
You probably have. Well, this one came out pretty recently, actually, so maybe.
So then I definitely have.
Okay.
Because I watch his videos when they come out. He's one of the very
so
few
then-
people that I actually follow.
There you go. Well, so this is Seth Skorkowski talking about. Oh, that's wrong. A moment I showed the comment off. Let me move that real quick. Sorry. Okay. So, this is Seth talking about VR chat is the gateway into VTubing. Oh god, no. We can't do it.
Yeah, no, please.
Anyway, this is called Backstory 201.
Yes.
7 tips and 1 alternative for crafting effective backstories playing RPGs. And yeah, we're gonna.
And he always has such good content. It's so nice.
Yeah. That's true. So I'm excited to see what he has to say.
Yes.
Internet, Seth Skorkowski, and a few years back I did a video on crafting character backstories, going over various tips and ways to approach and use backstories in your tabletop role-playing game for both players and for game masters. And because that's a subject that really has a lot more than just a single video can cover on it, it's time to revisit and expand on that topic. So using our first video as our foundation, I've retitled that one as Character Backstories 101, making this our 201 level video. As before, this video is not directed at any one role-playing system, so whether you're playing Dungeons & Dragons, or Call of Cthulhu, or Edge of the Empire, whatever it is, that really doesn't matter for this. Now, some games have backstory elements that are built into the character creation system, and if your game has that, then great. Maybe you can use some of these tips to expand on that. Many of the ideas that I'm going to be offering, I have blatantly stolen from various role-playing games that I've played over the years. First, name the characters in your backstory. This one seems painfully obvious, but it's amazing how often players forget to do this. If your character has a sister, name her. If they were trained by a mentor or have an enemy from their past, go ahead and give them a name. If they grew up on a ship, either sailing the seas or flying across the galaxy, tell us what its name is. Simply stating that your character has a sibling and that you both grew up on the streets until a master thief took you under his wing, that isn't likely to get as referenced in the game by you or by the game master if none of those characters have names. If they're not important enough for you to name, then they're not going to be seen as important enough to remember and use later on. Characters or places that are named feel more important and memorable for both the player and for the game master. In the last video, I talked about giving your game master a copy of your backstory, and I stressed that it shouldn't be any longer than what the game master asked for. Giving them a 20-page epic when they only asked for a single-page synopsis is all but assured that your GM is not going to read it. And if they do read it, it's not going to be as easy for them to reference and therefore use, so make the backstory easy to reference. For example, let's say that
Oh my god, that's the second tip. Okay, I didn't realize. He flows so well.
He does.
He goes from point to point so fucking well. Anyway.
Yep.
Naming your NPCs. Yeah, as you said, obviously. But
Yes.
Coming up with a name can be hard, right?
Name generator.
Exactly. Always go to that fantasy name generator site. It's one of the best ones.
I really wish we could get in contact with them and sponsor or something.
Right? I would.
So good.
Yeah, I should. I sent an email.
Nice.
I'll send an email. We'll see if there's a way. But regardless, I think they're not. I think they're a donation thing anyway. I think
Yeah,
they're a
they are.
community
They
thing.
are.
So it'd be cool to just talk with them though.
Yeah.
But anyway,
Shit is just so good.
yeah. So this goes with like naming, like with the previous video was saying, give your family a name and all that shit. This will make it so that you can have that name with a face and then have them be referenced, obviously. And just as he said, like, if you don't have it there, it's far less likely, though it does give the DM the possibility of coming up with a name for them and like introducing them and like having it be something of like, if it was kind of important and you didn't name them, they can name them and kind of bring them in and have it be not necessarily like their character, but it is their character, if that makes sense, right? They can kind of gauge how that character is going to act, and really bring them into the forefront, as long as they stick to the basics of what you've set forth.
Yeah, they like stick to the characterization that you gave it.
Yeah,
or them.
Yeah. Okay, time for me to go for the night. Great stream as always. See you guys next time when we have Boo as a VTuber with a computer-generated anime girl voice.
Dude,
see you, Steely.
You say that, and I got voice mod, god damn it.
I also do. It's the thing.
I could. And I hate that I could. Well, okay, I need to buy the actual shit, but yeah.
Yeah, yeah, I actually have it set so that I can do, like, Tech Priest and fucking...
Nice!
Space Marine.
Wait, do your Space Marine. I want to hear it.
I'd have to set... It would be a whole thing.
Oh, okay, never mind.
Like,
maybe
do
another
drives and stuff right now, but...
Yeah.
I have the ability to.
Nice.
Yeah, I was gonna do it when we do, Darktide.
Hell yeah!
I was
Even though we're playing as guardsmen.
I know, yeah. So it would have been worked better had we played more of Deathwing, but we already did that, so yeah. Anyway, so
anyway,
yeah. So even with naming them, you don't have to flesh them out, right? You don't have to flesh them out that much. A name is a lot, right?
It is, honestly.
Because most of us have trouble with names. But it really, like, it can really give you that basis, and then, you work from there.
This is my character's backstory. It's written out across 2 pages, much like a short story, and while it might make for good reading, this isn't laid out in an easy-to-reference way. Rock music blares as you step into the smoke-filled bar. People sit at the various tables, some of them talking and laughing loudly, while others kind of huddle close together and whisper, their hands passing palmed items to one another. Several pool games are going on, but one of the tables looks like it's empty. A few people stand before the stage watching the band. This is Red Blade territory, so I'm going to look and make sure I don't recognize anyone here. And I got an 18 on my perception. You don't recognize any of the Red Blade gangers here, but across the room you notice somebody that looks a little bit familiar. His back is to you, but then he turns his head to say something to a waitress, and you recognize him as, who? Hold on, I know it is in here somewhere. Which one do I see? It's that guy, the one from before. Which one? Am I missing a page?
Dude, I actually feel that so hard.
Oh, really? Has that happened to you?
No. So, no, it's not
Not
just
exactly.
Not exactly, no. It's more with my own notes.
Yeah, it's the whole, let me check on my brain.
Yes, it is literally, let me check in my brain. But,
okay.
like, even when I've run things for my own, like, notes for the world, right? I'll look through, and I do have sticky notes on my notebook to, like, look through and get to certain points, right? Mm-hmm. That's as far as my shit goes, and then I have to search.
So you're just not organized.
Not in that way, no.
Okay.
It's because it's all there, and usually it's in my head. But every now and again,
sometimes it's
yeah.
Sometimes
that hits in the feels, yes, Mark. Yeah. Damn those Red Blade gangers, shakes fist.
Hold on, I think it's in this paragraph somewhere. Just give me a second. So here we have a game master who's wanting to use an NPC from a character's past and backstory, but because that name has been lost in a wall of text, the game master isn't able to easily find that. Now the game is stalling. So here's some ways to prevent that from happening in your game. First, there's rarely a need to write out the backstory like a novel. A synopsis is probably fine. Bullet points are great for making it easy to reference.
Yes.
Next, names should be put in an easy-to-spot format, maybe all of them in caps or bolded or underlined.
That's
Something
a good
that I
tip.
do whenever I get a long backstory is I bold the names of important characters because it makes them easier to find when I'm trying to scan the page. I might even put them in a different color, red for enemies, green for allies, or something like that. And the easier they are to find and therefore use, the more often I'm going to be inclined to use and incorporate those characters in our games going forward. Now, Game Masters, I recommend that you go ahead and tell your players to do this whenever you're asking them to give you backstories. But players, even if your Game Master does not ask you to do this when they're asking you for a backstory, go ahead and do this part for them. Also, if a Game Master says that yes, they'll gladly take your multi-page backstory epic, then great. But go ahead and include with it a short bullet-pointed synopsis of all the critical details, that way they can easily reference them. This is all going to be the core information that you need to get throughout the backstory. And if the Game Master wants a little bit more elaboration on any of those details, they can then go and read the longer backstory that you wrote out for them. But the more easy that you make it for them to reference and get to that key information, the better off that both of you are going to be. Next.
I just thought of, like, you're looking at the synopsis, and at the end of each of the sentences, it has, like, in brackets and stuff, the reference page of, like, where you can find more information and shit. You basically make it a fucking reference page like you would in a fucking essay.
Yeah, or like a library or something.
Yeah.
It's like, see this for more information.
Yes, exactly. And honestly, like, that's good for organization, but man, am I lazy.
But that also reminds me of the fucking soul contract that I made for you guys,
Yes.
where I did that shit.
That's right. That's right.
God damn it. I hate that I put so much work into that and it barely got used.
By your own design.
Yep. I did it too well.
Oh, yes, you did.
But
you did it
that
very
does mean that if I ever have a devil in a campaign that you gotta sell your soul to, be fucking careful, because I'm using that shit.
Absolutely.
Because I'm not giving up like 3 weeks worth of work.
As you shouldn't. Well, it's also for those of you who don't know, it's also in our Discord that you can just go and get it.
Yeah, you should if you want like an ironclad devil contract.
Yes, very
that
good.
you can edit it all you want and change shit and make it so that the players can actually get out of it. But I would suggest that you don't, because devil contracts, that's all they do. Anyway, sorry.
That is true. That is true. I have that moment just looking through my player notes. It's a nightmare. Yeah, it's easier when it's like written out in like a notebook or something. When I have the online notes, I somehow find it harder to do.
Yeah, I don't know what it is. I think it's probably just because I'm old. I'm an old man.
Exactly.
I can't. I have such a hard time, like, if I'm reading a PDF versus a book version of anything, I feel like I'm missing something with the PDF. I don't know what it is, even though I'm not. I know I'm not missing anything. Anyway, sorry.
I think it's also, for me at least, it's also just like I need to be doing more than just one thing, right?
Gotta be holding the book while reading it.
Basically. Yeah, well, that, and also like sometimes I need to be like listening to something, or I need to be watching something at the same time, all that kind of stuff. And so I'll read through something, and like my attention will be drawn away for something else because I need to do something else at the same time, right? And then I'll either like miss something or something like that. It's bad for my attention span this whole day and age, but whatever. I used to read a lot. Now I don't read much.
Yeah. Me neither.
Yeah, it's
sad.
But the reason it's harder to take notes on the PC is because you have to look at different screens or change tabs, and it's faster to look down and write shorthand on paper while still having the screen up. Yeah,
Very
something
true.
like that. Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah, I usually write things out full. I don't do any shorthand usually, and when I do, I forget what my shorthand is.
Like what it means.
Yup.
Yeah.
I'm
like
very.
Wait, who the fuck wrote this? This doesn't even make any sense.
Yeah.
Oh, it was me?
Yeah, exactly. That's why I have to write things out for myself.
Game Master can overrule parts of your backstory. I know
Yes.
some viewers are already typing out their angry responses to this, but let me explain. The Game Master is in charge of the game world. They know where the campaign is most likely going to go, and they know what will and won't be the most appropriate for the game. So when they receive a character's backstory...
Sorry, as the pizza folk said, you don't read because you play video games, Garibay. That's true. He's right.
Even though I learned to fucking talk but good because of video games.
Even though I read in
RuneScape.
video games all the time.
Yeah.
It's okay. Reading is for nerds. For play things like reading is for nerds. Play things like Call of Duty and Halo. That's
Hell yeah, dude. Hey, Halo's fucking good. You shut up.
GM, can I change my backstory? Screw you, old man.
How many times we gotta teach you this lesson, old man?
But right off the bat, like, it's so obvious to me that your GM has final say, because the world, you kind of have to fit into the world, and if something doesn't fit, like you started saying, like, oh, I was born on an airship, and they go, there are no airships in my world. What? Why did you do this? Didn't we have a session 0 or something?
Or like, you're playing D&D, it's like, oh, my character's from space. And it's like, no.
Okay, astral plane, you mean? Like,
no, I don't mean the astral plane. I mean space.
Right. Yeah, no, I know.
Like, my character was born on a spaceship. There are no spaceships in my world.
Yeah, exactly.
Sorry. Like, it's a cool character, but it doesn't work.
Right.
And honestly, I think
if you want that,
this
go play
one,
Starfinder,
Yeah, right. This rule, it kind of goes without saying a lot of times, but I think that one that doesn't go without saying, one that should be talked about more, is the tone. Like, I think not enough people, like, not enough DMs, like, set what's the word? Set an expectation of what the campaign would work best with. So, for example, I have a material world campaign that I will run sometime down the line. I'm not writing it the way I'm doing with my Call of Cthulhu campaign. It's going to be a lot more loosey-goosey, and it's going to take place after the Devil campaign, way, 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 way down the line. And I plan on telling you guys, like, when we start, that this is a campaign made for heroes. So anti-heroes and evil characters, you can play them. I'm not going to say no, but it's really not going to work nearly as well, because this is just a campaign where it's for heroes. So
yeah, that's fair enough.
Good, good, neutral, chaotic, neutral, that kind of thing. No real evil characters will work very well here. So I feel like DMs should be a lot more forthright with the campaign's tone.
Yeah.
Because, hell, I even made that mistake with Brogan, although it was kind of a mistake on both of our ends, I think. When we started Devils and Dice, he was playing Muzzle. And basically what he wanted to do, he was the brooding, dark, I'm a loner, I'm Sasuke for the anime campaign, but it turns out that the campaign was a lot more goofy and bubbly at that point, so he didn't really fit all that well, or at least in Brogan's mind, he didn't fit all that well. I thought he was fine.
I did too.
Yeah. And so he wanted to change, and that's when Zeke came around, who was also fine. And so that was a mistake on both of our parts, I believe. Sure. But had I been more forthright with, this campaign is probably going to be pretty goofy in the beginning, and it will slowly ramp up into more serious shite.
Right. Well, I think so. A lot of the times, at least for me, I'm fine with the tone being set by the players.
Yes.
That just works well for me, because I can go whatever way they want to go. Introduce different elements of whatever they, whatever they weren't expecting it to be, so they can throw them off every now and again. All that kind of stuff. But absolutely, like, I feel like it if you know your tone that you want to kind of set for a majority, it's obviously not going to be maintained all the time.
But, absolutely. But
it should be set at least a little bit, and then you can go, okay, well, we're going to be doing this, so what, and with the second campaign that we're doing on Wednesdays, we were asked, like, what kind of tone we wanted. right?
Okay.
And so we were actually able to say, oh yeah, I don't want to be like a hero, right? I want to be more morally like gray,
Ambiguous.
Yeah, absolutely. Like we're doing stuff for the sake, like it can be good things,
Yeah.
absolutely, but whether or not that's because we want it to be a good thing or because it will help us is like up to us, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's not an overarching we're a hero, we want to do the good thing every time story.
Yeah.
And so we were able to do that and like work with the DM and actually like have that be the basis for a lot of our characters.
Nice.
Which is great, yeah. And I think it's going to work out well. Hopefully tomorrow, for the next session, it continues to work.
Yeah. Sounds like a rip roar. Good
Yeah.
old rip roar.
I'm going to have a great time.
Nice.
I've already tried to kill a man, but he
Nice.
wasn't a man. He was a gibbering mouther, so it was cool.
Oh.
Yeah, we're going to fight a gibbering mouther next time. Woo!
Avenge me.
Well, we
Is
have
it
to
in a
capture it
fucking
alive.
random pond?
No, we have to capture it
Good.
alive. The queen
Oh.
wants it for experimentation. Don't worry about it.
Oh.
It's not anything
That
nefarious.
doesn't seem smart, but okay.
Mhm. Don't worry about it. I'm getting paid.
Are you running it or are you playing it?
I'm playing it.
Oh, okay.
Yes. Yeah, all the things
Lucky.
all the things that I've been running have kind of fallen off, unfortunately. So
Aw.
yeah,
What a
it's
shame.
okay. It's all right. I'm
Yeah.
dealing.
Yeah.
What do you mean the DM can overrule my background? Bad DM. What do you mean it's a co-op storytelling game?
Yeah, right. That I think he actually also brings that point up.
Oh, good. Space. Yes.
Yeah. Space
but
is cool.
But my character from a sci-fi setting would be so good for this medieval campaign. It's not 40K.
I mean, yeah. It'd be 40K in a
It would be
feudal
40K.
world, on a feudal world,
Absolutely.
basically.
Yeah. Political campaigns and druids don't mix. You may be wise, but we don't need your hippy-dippy philosophies and magic muddling up our meeting about raising taxes to help pay our military. Well, so it depends. Right,
yeah,
for
no,
that
actually,
one.
here's the thing.
I
You
would
might
say it works very well.
It could, but I think if you wanted to play a druid in a political campaign, you would do it. I would do it personally. I would do it differently. I wouldn't be the druid who lives out in the woods. It's like, dude, you gotta stop burning down our forest.
Right.
I would be the druid who is like, hey, I run a dog shelter in the city, and I need you guys to stop being fuckers because,
Right.
So you bring that druid character. And you just change it a little bit so he's less naturey and more just like an animal rights guy and not PETA.
Well, even as the naturey kind of thing, you can have him be the voice of balance. You know? Instead of being just nature, it is, well, you're taking a lot from this forest, but it is going to affect your hunting season.
Yes.
Right? Like, and actually have him be more of a voice of reason than it is about a voice of animals.
Yeah.
Because that's a stereotype, obviously, of like hippy dippy druid shit, right?
Yeah.
Like that's a super stereotype, and you can obviously play that up as much as you want if you want to. But if you want it to be taken more as a political, like serious tone, then have them be like actually thinking about what is the benefit of this. Like, I understand that you need to build your town with this wood, but do you also understand that you need to be able to hunt the deer that live in that wood, and they will go away when you start taking the woods?
Exactly. And then you're going to be building a ghost town.
Exactly, right? And then like have him be like, well, instead of that, perhaps we can either find a different food source, or like have it be something that makes it spark conversation in that way.
Yeah.
A comedically edgy character could be funny. It was.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Because like that is a character type that is ripe for satire. It absolutely is.
Yes, absolutely.
I mean, hell, that's where a lot of fucking all the jokes about Sasuke.
Oh yeah.
Everybody does, because it's so ubiquitous that it's just funny.
Yeah.
And then the other thing is that you can absolutely make that, oh god, I'm so edgy. And then at the end of the day, when you guys are sitting down at the bar, it's like, god, I'm so sick of having to do this voice. It's like, it's so hard. I just want to,
Could be a front.
This just makes it easier to get past the guards. I'm really not like this.
Yeah, exactly.
I want people to see me for who I am, not this like, blah.
Yeah.
That would be really funny.
The most common conflicting elements in campaigns, guns in the fantasy world. Well, it depends.
Yeah, it depends.
It really depends. Everyone loves good old chicken butt. There you go.
Hell yeah.
If something doesn't fit into that world or then the game master should feel perfectly okay in vetoing that. Now, they should also explain why it is they're vetoing that. Maybe
Yes.
offer some suggested alternatives that
Yes.
work far better than just simply looking at them and saying no and giving no feedback or direction at all as to what the players should provide. And game masters should really only use this veto when it's really necessary and not without some consideration first as to how both the GM and the player can make that backstory work. But in the end, the player character and the backstory are really up to the game master's approval. That's like rule 0 in just about every role-playing game out there. Now, once the game does begin and that character has been activated and we're getting to play the character, the backstory is pretty much locked in. So game masters, if you are going to veto any parts of the backstory, it's best to do that before that character is activated. Next, the characters from your past aren't static. Like with your own player character, they're going to grow, change careers, and become something else. The backstory says who those characters were in the past, but once the game starts, the game master gets to say who they are now. My favorite example of this, and I used this before in another one of my Traveler videos, is Lando Calrissian. Back in Han Solo's backstory, Lando was a gambler, a scoundrel, and just damn smooth. Then, years later, when Han needed help fixing the Falcon's hyperdrive, and he was searching for a safe place to land and get it fixed, his game master decided to bring Lando back into Han's life. But now, Lando was the respectable mayor of a city. That is a big change, but it's no more than Han's own change from becoming a smuggler into a hero of the Rebel Alliance. So Game Masters, if your player gives you a named character from that character's past, feel free to change and turn them into a totally different character once the PCs encounter them. Don't lock them into whatever role it was that they had during the course of the player character's backstory. If the character's sibling who they grew up with on the street suddenly shows back up after many years, but they're now the wealthy leader of a religious sect, then that is awesome. What a great evolution of that character. And players, if your Game Master does take a character from your backstory and then cast them in a totally new role, don't resist that. Don't argue with them or say, that's not how I saw that character being. Just go ahead and lean into it. Have your own PC ask that character, like, how did you end up here? What's the story behind that? And backstory NPCs aren't the only characters that should be changing and evolving once the game begins. So
okay, cool. Yes.
Yeah, that's the only problem with Seth's videos. It's like, most of the time it's just, yes,
Yeah,
yes, double yes.
It is very much a yes. Like, I don't. I mean, so obviously there are exceptions,
Yeah.
and all that. You make the character or the NPC however you want. If you don't think of a good way for it to be a weird, different thing,
Yeah.
don't. Have it be. You could have it be a different. I agree and disagree at the same time with changing NPCs. Oh, please explain.
Oh, yes, okay.
But you can have it be like that the let's say that they were a smuggler.
Yes.
Now they are posing or are like the town guard, like captain.
Okay.
And they still smuggle because they have that authority and they can like get away with it way easier.
Yes.
They
Because
found
now
a
they're
way
in a position where, one, you would suspect them less, and two,
Yes.
even if you did, they're in a position of power and you can't do anything about it.
Exactly, right? Like you can have it be playing with that original idea, and make it something that kind of furthers them and makes them in a different position, but retains that old position.
Yeah.
Excuse me. Where's my water? It's over there. Give me a second.
Why is it over there? It should
Because
be
I
in
put
your
it over
body.
here. I put it over here because I went to sleep.
Oh.
And then I was like, oh, it'll be over here, so when I wake up, if I'm thirsty, I can just get it. And then I woke up and I wasn't thirsty, so I didn't get it.
And then you left it.
Mm-hmm. Anyway.
Yeah, so who agreed and disagreed with
That's Mog.
Mog, okay.
Yeah. So while we wait. Oh, no, there we go. I've always liked when I worked with players or the DM works with me to collaborate on developments of characters. I've seen some hurt feelings, characters changing radically.
Mm.
Okay. So,
Well,
hmm.
then I
Okay.
feel like if it was too radical a change,
Yeah.
I think that's on the DM, I think.
Yes. Yeah.
Because you need to make sure that the change makes sense.
Yes.
And if it is a radical change, then you need to talk with your players first and be like, "Hey, is this cool?"
Right. Well, so this is the thing as well.
Mm.
If it's a character that is very important, right?
Yes.
Like then you should.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
To a degree, I would say, because what if, right? What if this character that they have in their backstory, let's say that you've gotten your like 4 of your players' backstories, and they all have this one character that's unnamed.
Yes.
And then you decide.
Oh, okay.
And then you decide that that character has relations to every one of the characters.
Mm-hmm.
They were that person for everyone, and now they are going to be your. Let's say they were not very nice or whatever, or maybe they were nice, but now they're the big bad evil guy.
Okay.
So, in that respect, you might not know why he's gone to that side, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that's something that you would have to piece together and figure out during the campaign.
Yes.
Now, whether or not that's going to be something of contention between the players and the DM, that's unfortunate, I guess. But at the same time, using like that kind of stuff, and so using that kind of stuff makes it so it's an interesting kind of reveal at the end for that kind of for that big payoff of like, you know that guy? I know that guy. Oh fuck!
Why is he evil?
Why is he evil? He used to be a
Greed!
cool guy, right? Or maybe he was always a bastard. Oh, there were things that I didn't know about him, but there were things that I didn't know about him that were good. You know, like you can have that, and that's with a no name, right? With a no name, you can do that quite easily, and I don't think there would be too much pushback. With somebody who's named, and you want to make them completely different without really discussing it with the player, you, like you said, it's got to make sense enough, but I also think that you don't necessarily need to talk to the player about that, right?
Like what I said it wrong.
Okay.
I've had trouble with words lately.
That's fine.
I think you should discuss it with your players if you feel like it would go that way. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be every time, but if you think that this is a change that might, you should. Although, if you are trying to do a big reveal, you could, because I was gonna say, if you are trying to do a big reveal, you should ask your players, like, hey, like the player in question, hey, I'm gonna do a dramatic reveal involving this guy, and I have changed him in a way that is unorthodox.
Right.
Would you like to talk about it first, or would you like to just experience it?
Okay. Yeah.
Because again, if there is that worry in the back of your mind, and you don't want to, upset your players, which as a DM you really don't want to upset your players.
Not usually.
Certainly not with you. You don't want to upset your players with you. That's you can upset them with Thorninar all you want, but I think doing that is a smart idea. I think.
Yeah, I would agree with that. So some further stuff. I've had a background character change completely, and I couldn't even get insight or learn why they changed. It's hard to explain in text. In that case, then that sucks.
Yeah, no, that's not good. Yeah, no, that's bad.
So in that respect, from what I gather, at least, since you said it's hard to explain in text, from what I gather from what you said is that this background character changed, and nothing in the world and the story, anything like led you to understand why that is the case. In which case, That's poor planning and setup for the DM that they did. They really should have figured out how to breadcrumb that a bit more for you. Because if that was supposed to be something that's like revealed to you and supposed to make your character go, oh my god, right?
Oh my god.
Then that needs to be something that you breadcrumb.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
especially if you're trying to get a big reveal. You need to make sure that is the case. You have to make sure that it makes sense. Otherwise, it doesn't, and then the reveal is ruined.
Exactly. So, like...
Because I've done some reveals, and everybody said they went well.
Yeah, that is true. We did say that.
Yeah.
But
not in so many words, but, you know. I don't know why I'm doing that accent every time.
But yeah, so... If it's somebody that's really important in your backstory and you're going to radically change them, that's where you have to figure it out in a way that makes sense. Like, absolutely.
Yeah.
Because if it's a pivotal character in your backstory, man, there's got to be something, right? Like, if it's not just a natural, like, oh, they were a farm man, and now they're on the city council, right? Like, oh, okay, that's not too big a change, but
it's like,
they were
pretty cool.
Yeah, they were a farm man, and now they own Evil Space Corp, and it's like, huh? What?
Gonna have to tell me how that happened.
Yeah, he was a farm man, and then they go, no, and you go, ah.
Yeah, or at the very least, because the thing is, if you want to say no, you have to say no, but you can find out by doing this.
Right, like
because now you can use that no to your advantage, because now you've got them interested. And you at least give them a path. If you give them nothing and offer nothing, then that's not going to work.
It's a horrible idea.
Yes, very bad.
Maybe the character writes letters to the player, giving the player updates on how things are changing. Ooh, that would be cool.
Now, the only issue that I see with that is that if you're trying to make the character evil, the players will probably try to, like, stop them. And if you want that to happen really badly...
that's the thing, though. You can make it so it sounds like things are going very well. And, like, in the sense of, like, they're moving up in the world and they're not specifying... right, of how they are,
or how they're doing it.
Exactly. So like,
maybe they're like, hey, I just moved up in the city council. Turns out they didn't tell you that they were fucking murdering people to do it.
People having, like, it's in a town that you haven't been to for a while, so like you're not familiar with what's going on. Maybe you'll find some rumors out later on of like, oh, did you hear that the previous city councilmen, like all 9 of them, have been murdered? And then you go, huh?
It's like, shit. Then you write the letter to your friend. It's like, are you okay? It's like, I'm doing fine. I'm head of the city council now.
Right, exactly. and then they go, huh? And then maybe they start figuring it out, or maybe they go, well, that's really lucky. I'm glad that you're,
It's like, wow, can I get, like, free alcohol at the alcohol and food house?
Right. But my contention, actually, with it is... there we go. Writing letters to a player is hard to keep them informed. Is a hard way to keep them informed because they're not necessarily going to be where those letters are being sent.
Yeah, right? It's true. Unless you pull a Skyrim.
Well, so yes, I was literally thinking that.
Yeah,
and I was like, maybe you have a courier go up to them every time
and say, "Hey, got something for you. Your eyes only."
And then you try to outrun him, but he always finds you in the end.
It's basically the mailman from fucking Ocarina of Time.
Yes, I was also thinking of him.
God damn it.
But so it becomes a little hard if you want it to be something that's very important, and you need them to keep having that update. Have it be a rumor or something, or have it be. I don't know. Maybe it's a more of a magical sending of like a letter or something, right?
Yeah, I was thinking that.
Right, but if you want it to be something that they could potentially miss, right, and be like a revelation. Right, yes. Because they've missed so many letters, and then they go and get them, and then read them all and go, oh, right?
Oh no!
then that's, yeah, exactly. That can be very effective. It's really hard, right?
It is hard.
It's a hard thing to do because then you have to figure out if your players are going to read all the messages or if, all that kind of stuff.
Or you can design it to where they only read the whole thing all at once.
Yes.
Kind of like how I did.
Yeah, exactly.
With a certain episode of a certain campaign that
episode 41.
Yeah, episode 41 if anyway.
But yeah, so
I need to shut the fuck up. I need to stop plugging myself.
Gasp! My brother was my dad this entire time. Yes, exactly.
Oh. Okay then.
Well, lol, pen pals with the big bad. Dear my friend, per your suggestion, I only burned down half of the villages and pressed the rest into slavery. Thanks for the advice. Yes. It would probably also help if you added missing/incomplete details about the backstory character that the character doesn't know about for the DM to add to and maybe make a new story out of. Yes. Absolutely. Leave open ends with your background NPCs. Like, make it so that they aren't static. Because if you write them static in the sense of they are stuck in their job basically somehow, and that's how they know them, then that's how they have to be unless something really fortunate happens for them, right? Sometimes not being too detailed helps to open up opportunities for surprises, but be careful of that one depending on the DM. I already told enough horror stories on how badly that ended for me. Yeah, so exactly. It really depends on how far your DM wants to go.
Yes.
Had to step away for a minute, but I guess I haven't had anyone really do a good job on reasoning why a character changes. There you go.
Yeah.
So it's again, it really depends, because if your DM leaves you breadcrumbs that they intend for you to find and they have you find, then it can work really well. And if it's something that, even if the breadcrumbs are a little all at once, then you still have that. And it really at the same time, I would also say that even though, again, it depends on the NPC, but even though you have somebody in your backstory, that doesn't make them immune to changing. Right? Totally. You have to expect that not everybody's going to keep being the same person unless they literally can't help but be the same person. Right?
Or that's the whole purpose of the character, is to be the same person.
Exactly. In that case, it takes a lot and a real fucking good reason for them to actually change. But ultimately, I don't even in real life, everybody, nobody wants to keep being the same person over all the time. We all grow and change regardless of the fact, so you kind of have to expect that a little bit in your simulated fantasy world of people. Right? I don't know.
To the player characters. The backstory says who your character was and how they got here, but that was also who they were up until the game's start. Once the game begins, the character's new experiences should add to and alter them after that. So don't lock yourself into the trap of who your character was is how they're just always going to be after that. The game is really about who your character becomes during the course of their adventures. After a few games, your character should have changed. Maybe they're going to have new skills, powers, or levels, but those are really just the mechanical changes. That's not what we're talking about here today. You should also consider the evolution of the character themselves. Have their values or their motivations or their personality evolved as well during the course of their adventures? This is one of those areas that I do think is very important, and if you feel that your character has had a shift in personality as far as what and who it is that they value, then a player should go ahead and announce that and let the game master know about that evolution. Hey, 3 games ago I said that my character's big motivation was money and that my most cherished person was my childhood buddy, but that's not going to be the case anymore. This can also help a game master really tailor the games around that character and make the games a lot more fun and personal for you. Game masters, after a few games, if your players haven't told you how their characters' personalities have changed, maybe it's that those players just haven't considered that portion yet, so go ahead and ask them how their characters have changed. Go ahead and
or or maybe like you should pay more attention to how their characters are acting in the game, because
Yeah.
you can tell a lot from how a person is playing their character different, you know? Like,
Yeah.
you don't have to state it all the time, right?
Ye-
It's a
yeah.
show don't tell kind of thing, right?
Mhm.
Like, that's a little weird for me, because like, yes, in some cases, absolutely, your character's going to change a bit, and like there are certain things that should probably affect you, and hopefully, I mean, unless your character is infallible in their character, then they will probably be affected by when they see the old woman in town get brutally murdered because they thought that she was a witch, right? But she was not. She was just giving soup to some children. Out of a cauldron.
Yeah, yeah.
But you know, like, at the same time, I feel like you should see that reflected in how your character or how your players are acting, right?
Yeah.
And like, if they aren't changing at all, then yeah, at that point you should step in and go, "Hey, man,
Your
you saw
character
that
saw
before,
a guy
right?
get murdered, and
Right?
yeah, is he okay?
Yeah,
It's like, yeah, he's fine.
Right? Exactly. It's like, why? Right?
How?
How? Right? Have that kind of conversation more so than if they haven't said anything at all, right?
Yeah.
To you, it's like I don't
Like,
necessarily.
not everybody is going to do that, really.
Absolutely, I don't necessarily talk to you about how Mez is changing.
Yeah.
Right? He has changed a bit since the start, and that I think
He used
that's
to be a
pretty
gigantic
evident.
bitch, and now he's a lot more confident.
Yeah, exactly. There's there is some changes here.
Yeah.
And I hope that's evident to people who watch and and you, right? Like,
Yeah, no, it's evident to me.
exactly. So
Sorry, I didn't mean to call you a gigantic bitch.
it's Mez. What do you mean?
Yeah, that's true.
But yeah. So other than it's just, I don't know. It's just weird to go.
Yeah.
Hey, they haven't talked to you. It's like, well,
You should ask.
the character isn't doing anything different. Then you should maybe ask. Yeah.
Yeah.
They update
noticed-
their backstory.
Oh, sorry. Go on.
No, you're good. I've noticed a couple of things that Seth definitely has hang-ups about in like role-playing. I know one of them, because he mentions it all the time, is he seems to be very, very preoccupied with the game flowing as smoothly as possible.
Oh, sure.
Because he always meant one of the things he always mentions is then the game is like stalling.
Yes. Yeah. I
He
have
even
noticed that
mentioned
a
it
few
in this
times.
video.
Yes.
I'm not really sure what the big deal is with that personally, because I remember I'm not really sure what it is.
Yeah.
But yeah, like he seems very, very preoccupied with the game moving at like the perfect pace.
Right. Exactly.
You know, don't stop to look up any rules. Don't do this, don't do that. It's just kind of strange to me.
Right, and like when we play, it's just like, hey, hang on for a second. Like,
Yeah,
all
let
of
me
us
check
have
in my
done it.
brain. Let's
Right.
do the calculations of exactly how much Baphomet's arm is worth.
Yeah, right?
And
Like,
honestly, because the
yeah.
thing is, I'm a big fan of Seth Skrakowski,
Yeah.
and like when that happened, I was actually getting a little bit anxious because I'm like, oh shit, the game is really, really slowed down. And then like a couple sessions later, I'm like, why was I worried about that?
right, exactly. Yeah,
Because like you guys were having fun. You guys wouldn't be doing this if you didn't find it fun.
Exactly.
Like the calculations, I mean.
absolutely. That's the thing. Every table's different, and for him, this is how he wants to run things, and that's fair.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
if that's how you and your players want to do it, then it works for you. You know.
Yeah, exactly.
In life, either you seek out change or the world changes you. It's inevitable. Yes. Very, very wise.
Very, yes, a very much wise.
Much wise. Big wise.
Much wise,
over there.
very, very smart.
Records that you have to reflect
Maybe
any
his group
sort of
is really
changes that
large.
have occurred in that
Maybe.
character. Next, tropes aren't
Yeah.
bad. Tropes are familiar storytelling aspects or archetypes. Cliches are what we call tropes that we're tired of or consider overused. So the difference between a trope and a cliche is pretty much subjective. Many gamers out there are going to staunchly avoid tropes, considering all of them just tired and unimaginative cliches deserving of scorn. However,
No.
I disagree with that opinion. I don't mind tropes at all. Part of why many of us play these games is giving us the opportunity to play some of our favorite tropes that are out there.
Sure.
So if you want your character to be an orphan, then fine, go for it. Many of my favorite fictional characters were orphans as well. You want to play an elven archer because you read or watched Lord of the Rings and you thought Legolas
Why are
was
you trying The
awesome? Then
Hobbit?
cool. I did that for my first D&D character too. Not everything needs to be totally original or something that no one has ever seen before. Often, the reason that nobody's seen that before is because it's kind of a bad idea. Now, that being said, while I don't mind tropes, don't feel yourself becoming limited by them. I still want to have a unique character. I want your character, so go ahead and mix it up as far as, what tropes it is you want. Give us a little bit of a mix and match or try something new here. Go ahead and make it your character. Tropes are meant to flavor the PC, not define the PC. And whatever you do, do not make a clone.
Okay. Even better. Okay, he's going for that. Gonna go completely against Tulok, huh?
Yeah, Tulok the pointless Barian.
Oof.
We all feel the same way about Tulok.
Yeah, no, I don't like what.
Yeah.
Anyway, so
here, wait, go ahead and let him finish the sentence. It's just a couple more seconds.
Sure.
An existing character. So if you want to have an orphan that becomes a wizard, that's perfectly fine. But don't hand me what's clearly a Harry Potter knockoff, complete with a Dark Lord, facial scar, wicked aunt and uncle who lock him under the stairs, glasses, and maybe the ability to talk to snakes. If your character is exactly like Legolas, then I don't want that character in our group. The reason isn't because I require...
Okay, yeah. That's... I would agree 100%. But,
Yep.
So when he was talking about it before, I wanted to reiterate, yes, you can use a trope, absolutely, right? Like, easily. Have a fucking anything be that trope, but absolutely make it your character, right? Like, like as he said, just because he looks and has all the things of Legolas, right, does not mean that he's going to act exactly the same.
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
Please, God, please. Your no parents rogue, right? who's trained by the master thief isn't going to act exactly like
any given
insert trope here. Right?
Yeah,
like,
right. It's ironic that you bring that up and then you kind of stumble around looking for one that's just like that. That's a very D&D thing.
Yeah, it is. It really is. So it's less that, I guess, more insert that stereotype there.
Yeah.
But
a stereotype's not a trope.
It's true, but yeah, you can do that, but like add a little more flavor to it. Have it be unique to you and your character, and not just a copy, as he said.
Yeah, don't make Goku, make Broku.
Yeah, make OC Broku, do not steal.
Hell yeah. Somebody different.
Yes.
Somebody different, please.
Exactly. Excuse me, sir. Clones are amazing. Clones are what make Spider-Man. True. That was a whole arc for a while. I remember.
Yeah. That was more than an arc.
Well, yeah, it became a whole thing. Tropes can be all right. I try to add a spin to them to make them interesting to play for me. I like to have it be at least somewhat different and unique in some way. Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah.
Even like anything. It's whatever you want.
And then the other thing is that it's worth knowing the tropes and kind of experiencing the tropes, because that way you can go against them, which is a very, very fun thing to do.
Absolutely.
Where the one that immediately pops into my mind is the classic thing is the grumpy but with the heart of gold dwarf guy in the party. Can we have a nice dwarf for once?
No.
Exactly. And so that's how you go against it. You get familiar with the fact that every dwarf is always a fucking grump who's always complaining about everything. Nobody can do anything right. Elves are the worst. How about we have a dwarf who's like the nicest guy you'll ever meet and is super friendly, very helpful, and is actually fascinated by elven culture? How about that?
Totally. Absolutely.
That'd be fun as hell.
Oh, totally.
And maybe he's into elven women too.
Oh,
Probably is. And then like you can have this thing where it's like he's into elven women, but no one wants him because he's he's a dwarf,
Yeah,
and
he's
elves
always-
are like,
oh, unrequited
It's like-
love.
damn it. It's like, okay. And he's good natured about it though. He's not grumpy.
Right,
And that
right.
would make such a fun character.
Yeah, absolutely. You went for no parents rogue and didn't go Batman? For shame. True.
Oh yeah, it's true.
Don't make Goku make turtles?
Oh, that's that's Vegeta's brother.
I don't know him.
That's fine.
Oh,
god damn it.
A nice dwarf is called a halfling. Yeah.
Ah!
That's true. Then make the
that's
halfling
true.
grumpy. Hey!
Yeah, there you go.
Fuck it.
And make the elf like a xenophile.
Yeah, sure.
He like loves other cultures. Like, wow, you guys are so
Absolutely.
cool. Look how fast you
Absolutely.
do stuff. I wish I could get my friends to be this way.
Yeah.
Maybe
Well,
I could be your friend.
And like it's a thing now, but Bilbo as the rogue basically was
Yeah.
against the type. you
Yeah,
know?
it absolutely.
He was that good burglar man. He was a nice
Yeah.
one. He didn't steal really. He just
was
there.
he was the classic chaotic good.
Yes.
Although, well, okay, the classic chaotic good is always Robin Hood, but
Yes.
you know what I mean.
Yeah, I know what you mean. It's why I'm working on an emotional Yuan Ti wild magic rage can seriously alter the mental state of a cold, emotionless snake person. Yes.
Ooh, nice.
at least-
yeah.
At least I hope I can out of character sheets. I believe in you. You got it.
Yeah, no, dude, fucking do it.
Do it.
I command you to do it.
I command you.
A totally original character and backstory, but if a player is trying to play Drizzt, then they're essentially locking themselves into the path of Drizzt, railroading themselves before the adventure even begins, and clones rarely grow beyond the characters that they're trying to copy. So while drawing inspiration from your favorite characters and tropes is fine, make the character your own. The reason that I mention this, I'm kind of going off on tropes the way that I am, is it's a response to a common internet advice that I've encountered as some online personality disdainfully puts down tired cliches that they've seen 100 times, which, yeah, sure, maybe they've seen those 100 times until they consider it cliche, but your group might not have seen those before, so it's not going to be a cliche to you.
Yeah.
So don't feel that you have to avoid tropes, just don't be limited by them, or don't even feel obligated to play a trope if you don't want to. That's perfectly fine to do. But if someone who's not even in your group that you're playing with considers something that you're playing to be a tired and overused cliche, then really, that's their problem. Next,
Yes,
consider
very
linking your...
much so. Yeah, there's not too much more to go off of that. I just wanted to read. He was a peasant that was forced to take levels in Rogue. Poor Bilbo. Yes.
backstory with the other members of the party. For many
Tropes are bad,
campaigns,
Garrett,
the opening scene is the characters
see
all
it.
getting to meet one another, maybe in a bar or a jail cell or something like that. And then we go through the motions of, learning to like one another's characters or even trying to figure out why these characters would all be hanging out with one another in the first place. But is there a reason that your characters can't begin the campaign already knowing one another or being family members?
Yes.
So go ahead and talk with your game master
Oh,
and
no,
the
no, I
rest
was
of your
agreeing.
group
No,
about that and consider incorporating one another's characters into each of your backstories. This is something that other games like Traveler and Cult include in the character creation process, where we're given the option to link characters together, meaning that the game begins with them already having an established bond. Maybe they went to school together, maybe they served in the military, or they did time together. Maybe a common interest introduced them to one another years before. Maybe they share some sort of dark secret or sort of hidden goal that they have in common. And if the player characters do know each other prior to the start of the campaign, we can incorporate one aspect from the Alien role-playing game called Buddies and Rivals, which is listing who their character considers their favorite and least favorite PC. Now, This doesn't
Yep.
require any sort of
That's
in-game
also in Vampire.
mechanical effect. This is really just
kind
a
of.
roleplay tool of your character's opinion of some of the other members of their party. Their buddy is probably going to be the one that they're going to offer aid to first, while the rival is going to be the one they'll probably be offering aid to last. Doesn't mean that they necessarily hate or dislike their rival, it just means that they're least favorite party member for that PC. And buddy and rival status doesn't have to be reciprocated. These are your character's feelings about the other PCs in the group. So character A might consider character B their best friend, but character B considers character C their favorite. Now, because of that, character A might consider character C their rival because he doesn't think that she's good for his buddy.
Right.
As I mentioned, characters should be evolving, and who their character considers their buddy in one adventure might not be their buddy by the next adventure, and whoever they consider their rival might eventually work their way into becoming the buddy of those characters, where they kind of go from being opposites and not really liking each other as much to becoming inseparable best friends. Finally, and really what I consider the key part of this video, is the first thing that you need to do is ask yourself, what are the backstories for?
Okay, so before we get to that,
Yes.
yes, linking is very useful. In fact, in Devils and Dice, hey, Boris and Mez are linked. They were linked from the beginning.
Yes.
We determined that beforehand, and it just
He
made
is-
our dynamic work really well.
Yeah,
like
he is a slave.
he is. I own him.
You own a man.
Yes, I own a measle.
Yes.
You
You also earn a bird.
I do also own a bird. Yeah. I like collaborative backstories with familiar groups who are used to playing with one another. They can make great roleplay moments, whether they're rivals, friends, lovers, or master and servant. Yes, exactly. That's what I was going to say. It's a lot easier to do with your good friends. To make those characters that actually have a bond, because not to say that you can't do it with randos. Absolutely, you can try.
Yeah.
It's just you have to figure out how compatible you are, I guess, in the role play, right? In my Wednesday group, I don't have a tie to a single other character, so we have to do the whole rigmarole of figuring out how we work together and shit through our shared trauma, and all that kind of stuff, right? But it's never been like a super essential thing, right? It's something you just kind of work through and try to figure out the dynamic of the group in that case. But I do think that it does help when you have at least like one pair, maybe, that they can actually stay with each other and have a good reason to, and all that kind of stuff. The other thing I wanted to say was with the kind of buddies and such thing. I mentioned Vampire, and Vampire does this thing of a relationship map, where you take a piece of paper, and it doesn't really, it can be a mental one, doesn't matter. It's just a thing where you make it so you have two things you like about a coterie member and one thing you dislike, right?
Yes.
Like one thing that grates you about them, and then you do that for everybody, and then you also do that for touchstones, right? And other people in your life that all kind of corresponds to all of these characters and how their web of being related works. And then you can also put in how your touchstones feel about each other, if they do, or if they even know about each other or anything like that, and kind of have that thing, and then go, hey DM, or storyteller, have this.
Yeah,
and then,
right.
And then they go, ha. What does this mean? No, but you know what I mean. It helps with that whole building relationships and things like that. A really good session 0 thing, I think.
Yeah.
Being picky who you offer aid to in the Alien game is a bad idea. I give it a 17.8% chance that your buddy is making it out.
Yeah, right?
Yeah. It's harder to rely on random people, not just with compatibility, but you have to rely on them being committed to playing almost as much as you are. That is also true. Yes. Yeah, it's definitely a much easier and better thing to do with people that you know. That way you know already how they're gonna act and shit. But again, it's not impossible with randos. It's just hard, as you stated.
Yeah, it's just difficult.
Anyway, what are backstories for?
Now, the answer to that question can change group to group. For me, backstories are about establishing the aspects of this character as well as some roleplay tools and hooks. They need to answer certain questions, and that's really what I want from a backstory. A long, detailed backstory that's written out like a novel doesn't necessarily mean that it's helpful. So instead of asking your players to give you a long and detailed backstory, or maybe in addition to a backstory, you could maybe just add this as well, is to consider doing a survey of questions. Now, this list can change group to group or campaign to campaign, and I have directly stolen many of these from several different RPGs because they're pretty good questions. So you don't need to use all of these questions by any means because I'm about to blast out a lot of them.
Okay.
You might limit yourself to maybe 6 or 8 of these, or the ones that you think are the most important or the most interesting,
10.
or you could just simply make up your own questions that are more suited to whatever it is that you're playing. What motivates your character and why? Is it money, power, revenge, family, honor, having a good time, what? This is a simple question, and it is amazing for helping a game master come up with story hooks, and many long and detailed backstories that are more like novels than anything else fail to answer this very critical question. What trait describes you? Are you honest, distrustful, loyal, selfish, frequently chewing your fingernails? Do you laugh a lot, possibly at inappropriate times? This is how you're going to roleplay this character, and it is great for a player to think about whenever they're trying to come up with how they're going to make this character unique. What is your physical appearance? When a character meets you, what is it they see?
Yeah, right.
This just isn't your physical looks, like height and hair color, but how does your character dress? Is it bright and expensive clothing or worn out and practical? How do you carry yourself? What is it you smell like? Is it like crisp aftershave or maybe the lingering stink of cigarettes and motor oil? Do you have any notable scars or tattoos or other features that somebody would see about you? What is your dark secret? Or what is your biggest fear? What is your greatest tragedy? Now, these don't have to be big. Your dark secret could simply be something that your character finds embarrassing. But these are leverages and roleplay aspects for both game masters and players to use. Where did you grow up? And I don't mean what city you grew up in, like I grew up in New York, but what was the environment to where you grew up? Like, I grew up in a rundown New York apartment building with rampant crime. Or, I grew up in a luxurious uptown high-rise overlooking Central Park, but my parents' constant fighting meant that I spent as little time there as possible. Both of those, if the player had just said New York, mean vastly different things from one another.
That's true.
Who are your siblings? How many do you have? How old are they in relation to you? What adjective best describes them? Such as my athletic younger by 3 years sister Julia and my bookworm brother Eric, who's 1 year older than I am.
That's fair.
Who are your enemies and rivals? Give us their names, a few details about them, and what did they do to earn your dislike? Game masters, depending on the player, you might want to set a cap on this at maybe 3 or so, because some players can kind of go a little crazy with this one. What do you hate? Omicrons. Okay, but why do you hate Omicrons? They know what they did.
That's a good one.
That's pretty good. I like that a lot.
Yeah.
I joined the party in the middle of a dungeon, so I'd have a hard time linking backstories with characters I know jack shit about. That's true. That's fair enough.
Fair. Yeah.
One way to look at backstories is that you're playing a character, not a blank pile of stats killing shit for for reasons. Yes.
Yes. Unless you're doing a dungeon crawl. Then you
exactly.
are.
Exactly. I grew in
Then
the west side of Philadelphia.
T-posing fucking white
Yeah,
like
exactly.
wireframe.
I grew in the west side of Philadelphia, born and raised, spending time on the playground most of my days. Already done. I appreciate it.
Yes.
Perfect reasoning. Yes. Oh, they know what they did.
Yeah.
They do.
Some bullshit.
Yeah.
Best friend. And if you have no friends, why not? Who is your hero and why?
Right? It's a good one.
I don't know why that hit me so. It's just.
You know why it hits so hard.
I do. It's just funny. It's just funny. I don't know.
It's good. It's good shit.
It is a good.
Even though it's not meant to be a joke, I don't think.
No, it's not. It's definitely not. But it's just funny. No, if you have none, why?
Why do you have no friends?
Why do you have no friends? It's just
like,
funny.
well, I usually fucking live in a sewer, so they
Right,
can't
yeah.
handle the
And then it's just
smell.
like, oh man. No, these are good questions.
Yeah, no, they're all really good.
Yeah.
This could be someone that the character knows or just some famous person that the character knows of. Have you ever hurt another person? How? And do you feel bad about that? What is your proudest accomplishment? What is your biggest goal? Do you live with somebody else? Where and how do you live? Who or what are you the most passionate about? What do you do in your spare time? This is one of those ones that can really round out a character as we discover some sort of hobby or activity that the character likes to do when they're not adventuring. How do you...
I want to say a hobby, we talked about this before, but a hobby is so important for your character and their backstory and just being a person.
Yes.
God, even if it's just I throw rocks at children or something, right? Like, yeah.
That, like, as hilarious as that is,
It's
it's not bad, really.
It tells you a lot about the character.
Because,
right?
like, you can take that so many different ways. Where do you throw the rocks from?
What?
Are you trying to hurt them?
Yeah, why
or are
are
you
you
just
doing
kind of
that?
trying to, like, you know, like you just flick it with your thumb and try to, like, make it land on them from the top of a building?
Yeah, exactly, right?
And
Like,
then if you get caught, how do you try to not get caught?
yeah.
Do you wear a mask while you do it? You can have an entire fucking, like, 10-minute diversion where it's like, okay, now
That's
let's
what I'm
cut back
saying.
to Joey here who's throwing rocks at people. What do you
I'm
do?
saying.
You know?
Absolutely. It
That
just
would be
adds-
amazing. And you have, like, an ultimate quest to hit 10 children in every major city. That would be amazing.
See? We've already made a motivation and shit for a character just off of the hobby of throwing rocks at children, okay?
Dude,
Like-
and then, like, the thing is, and who knows, maybe the character throws rocks at people because you're practicing to make sure you can always hit people with your throwing knives.
Yeah,
Or-
exactly.
Or ninja stars.
Or
For shuriken,
whatever it
if
is.
you're cultured.
Absolutely. Like,
That would be amazing.
right? It becomes all
I gotta
thing.
dude, I have to make sure I can, like, throw these rocks well, because you really don't want me to miss with this fucking alchemist fire, man.
Yeah, totally.
You really don't want me to miss. You also really don't want me to drop it at my feet because I have a bandolier of the things. Jesus Christ.
Most important trait, has no friends. Yeah. If you have no friends, why not? Jeez, video. I didn't expect to be called out so hard.
Yeah, right?
Just the throwing rocks at children thing reminds me of high school when seniors pelted pennies at freshmen regularly because welcome to high school. I remember hearing about stuff like that.
Oh my god, that hit me so hard when you're like, throwing rocks at children, that makes me think of high school. And I'm like, what high school did you go to?
Oh no!
And then you get going with the pennies.
Yeah.
That's hilarious. Oh man.
The orphanage attacked me. It was self-defense. Favored enemy orphans.
Yeah.
I actually, one of my vampire players, they were a Ventru, and so Ventru can only drink a certain type of blood. And we were talking about it, and like orphans came up, and he was like, "Oh, that means I'd have to drink children all the time." And I'm like, "Well, no, adults can be orphans, my man." And he was like, "Oh shit, you're right." And so he made his thing orphans. So his whole thing is to try to figure out if, like, when he's talking to people, sometimes he'll try to ask, "Hey, how are your parents doing?" Basically. And trying to figure out if he can drink from them. It's so good.
That's so fucked, man. I love it.
I love vampires so much.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Anyway.
What the fuck, man?
Yeah.
That's so good.
That's why. Dude, I love how fucked up vampire can be, man.
Yeah.
It's so good. It's so good.
About most people? What is your biggest flaw? How do you feel about that? As I've said before, I love a character that's got some flaws, and here we get to establish, some quirks or maybe different things about the character that aren't perfect.
Yeah.
Now, these don't need any sort of in-game mechanical effects if you don't want it. They just really have to be just some sort of flaw that character has. What is your most cherished possession and why?
I was gonna say a flaw can be something that you can also do something like really interesting with, just on how your character acts and is in general, and like how they got to be where they are, because maybe their flaw forced them to become who they are. Right? Doesn't everyone become an orphan eventually? Yes.
That's fucked, man.
It is fucked, but hey, man.
It's true.
I think we had it be just like actual like I don't know, orphan from childhood or something. But like,
yeah, I think that's usually what it is.
It's funny. It's just funny.
Yeah.
What is your most cherished place and why? And how did you meet the other player characters? These questions can be extremely useful, not just for the game master, but for the players, because they're forcing a player to consider all these different things about their character. A few months back, we were making our characters for a campaign of Cult, and one of the things that you do at the end of that process is you ask each of them this list of questions. My players kind of eye-rolled that I insisted that we do that. We're all veteran gamers that have decades worth of experience under our belts, but we went ahead and did it. And it was through the players considering and answering these questions that we really fell in love with these characters, where they changed from just being characters that are written on a piece of paper to becoming people that we considered separate entities from ourselves and people that we were affectionate about. Personally, this list of questions or this survey is far more helpful to me than just having a simple backstory, because it goes straight to the point and gives us all the important details that we can use, and that everything that a game master wants, or at least all the details that I want and can use as a game master. Now, with this list of questions, the answers, of course, can change over time. A character's experience from one game is going to become their backstory to the next game, and that character should always be evolving. So both players and game masters should periodically revisit these questions and kind of look them over, and any time that the answer to one of those changes, it should go ahead and be noted and announced to the GM and maybe the other players around the table. Now, players, if your game master does not ask you for this list of questions or anything like this, feel free to do it for yourself, because it's really going to help you visualize and be able to play this character as somebody that's very unique and very different from yourself, because now you've considered all these different aspects about them. For me, this part right here is the most important part of a backstory. It's actually more important than giving me a backstory that's written out like a short story or all the details of your life, because this answers the essential questions of where your character came from, what it was that influenced you, who your character is now, and provides us with several interesting characters and events and places that a game master can use. Anyway, that is it for this video. Hopefully you found something here that was helpful to you, either as a player who's wanting to craft a backstory that their game master can use and incorporate in the game, or just a better way of crafting a little bit of information about your character that you can use in your game, because as I mentioned in the previous video, that most of the backstory stuff is really for the players to be using. Or if you're a game master who's wanting to get a little bit more out of your players' backstories in order to have better rounded characters and plenty of details and different things like that that you can use in adventure hooks and really personalize the game for them.
Okay, cool. Oh.
Hey, thanks for watching.
Okay. Yeah. Cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
Good video.
Good shit.
Good video. I've had contention with one thing, but
yeah.
Other than that, you'll know. I really want to drink this person, but they still have parents. New quest.
Oh God,
that's right.
That's totally right.
That's honestly, I like that, because then it's like I need.
Yeah, it's like pretty thirsty, but not too thirsty to kill your parents and then drink you. That's fucked. Love it. Shit, dude.
Love it.
Venture are shitters, man.
Yeah. Yeah. No shit. But yeah, so that's that video. If you haven't already, I mean, Seth,
Yeah.
It's Seth. You've watched us cover him a few times. You know.
he have good content. Definitely subscribe to him.
And also, previous video, Roll for Initiative, does good stuff. So, yeah. Go check them out. The links will be in the description of the VOD.
Yes.
So yeah. Anyway,
Is
moving.
that it for us tonight?
No, we have the comments. We do them at the end.
Right. Yeah, I forgot that we're not doing that at the beginning anymore.
Yeah. So, let us move on to comment, because there's only one comment.
It's from Lux.
It is from Lux.
It's from Lux.
It's from Lux. Let me refresh just to make sure. There's only one. Yep.
Okay.
Okay.
Here we go.
So, this is on last week's. Lux says, putting comments at the end probably makes the most sense. Watching these videos on Friday, I can pretty much skip around to whatever point I want anytime. Anyway, that's true.
Yeah.
It's not that I really try to write long comments, though. Once I've said everything I want to say, the comment is just long on its own. I actually cut a fair bit out.
Like, having long comments is totally fine. You don't need to worry about that.
No
we love your comments. We love them.
Yeah. There's no problem with it. Even if it's short, even if it's long, does not matter. Get a comment, it's great.
Yeah. As long as you don't say first. And that's all you say.
Yeah, we won't read that.
Yeah, we're not going to read that.
No. There's been... Okay, so before we get too far into this one, there's been more of an influx of those fucking spam comments of, like, bots than things that are trying to... Yeah, thankfully they go away, but every time that YouTube removes them, I can't find the channel so I can block that channel. That's the only thing, because then I just want to block it so that it doesn't... Because it's, like, created in, like, this year and shit, and... Like, no. Anyway... but I still see them in like the notifications for their channel, so it's really annoying because I can see it and I can't go to it and I can't go to the channel. Yeah. Anyway, writing long comments. I actually cut a fair bit out where I think a point is either not relevant or not well stated, or I'm just being too weird. Okay. I'm very glad that Chris Pratt quote turned out not to be real. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's right.
Jesus. That was amazing.
That was great. I'm glad I did research. I was starting to be afraid that I would have to separate the art from the artist again. Not very good satire, though. Oh, no, it's not.
Yeah, no, it's terrible satire.
Didn't exactly raise any sort of insightful commentary on human condition. I don't see what the point of it was other than to generate clicks. Oh, welcome to the internet. Well, obviously that was the point. There you go. I guess that website was a knockoff of The Onion and vastly inferior knockoff to that.
So a shallot.
Yeah. Also,
I have nothing problem with shallots. Anyway, go on.
Bots popping up is a sign of success, right? The bots and like those porn accounts, yeah, great. It's super successful. Woo! Love it. Anyway. Also, today I learned President Koopa's ridge was just hair, so he's not a human with a ridge on his head, he's just a straight-up human. I guess I gave that movie too much credit. I'll grant the actor for Mario was pretty good in that movie from what I remember. Luigi, on the other hand, didn't even have a mustache. Completely unacceptable.
Yeah, right.
So I said the original XCOM was more of a war simulator than the original game, which doesn't necessarily imply one version being harder than the other, though I would actually say the original is the harder version regardless of difficulty setting. I would agree with you. Yeah, the original XCOM is so fucking difficult. Absolutely. Oh, yeah. Just off the bat.
Yeah, they're meant to be. They're meant to be hard as shit.
Oh my god,
Anakin.
Oh?
We can't hear you if you're speaking.
His internet has been fucking dying today, so...
Yeah, that's what I heard.
I'll just keep going, and if I hear a little noise, I'll notice. Where was I? Oh yeah. The distinction is hard to explain if you haven't played both versions, but I'm speaking in the sense that a simulator is designed to be as much of a realistic recreation of a particular scenario as possible, whereas a game is meant to be entertaining above all else and will have mechanics that break away from realism in the name of entertainment value. Sure. The original XCOM still falls absolutely on the game side of that spectrum, but it's significantly closer to simulator than the remake. Yes. Character classes, the satellite coverage mechanic, and the way the abduction mission selection is periodically offered, there he goes, to you are all distinctively game-like mechanics that don't feature in the original. That's true.
Yeah.
I Aiden showing up being a ghost and being completely silent. Pretty spooky, huh?
Oh my god.
It's almost like it's spooky times. Whoa. Yeah. Anyway. Now then. Both the videos were pretty good, so thoughts that came to mind for me. The joke at the beginning of the second video was a bit dated. I understood it because my grandparents had that book sitting on their bookshelf for longer than I've been alive. But I personally don't like to ever explain a joke, because if you had to explain it, it didn't work, and therefore you can't use it to kill Batman.
Yes.
So, at this point, it's probably more of a distraction than the icebreaker it was presumably intended to be. Yeah, it was supposed to be that infomercial style thing, just to, like, be a little funny little skit. I don't think it was, like, a joke. I think it was a skit. Just to lead into the thing, and then they explained, like, what the book was that they were referencing and shit. But I agree that it was something that I didn't understand at first until it was, like explained to me, because I've never heard of the book until that video.
What the, that was at the beginning of the first video?
Second video. That was the Nerdarchy one.
Oh, right, yeah.
I actually like to maintain a strong distinction between my character and myself. I'll still call their actions in first person, but only because that's what everyone else in the groups I've played with always did. And it just takes less conscious effort to do what everyone else is doing.
Yeah.
Follower, huh? No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. But I very much want to maintain the mentality that they are doing the action, not that I am doing it. This isn't really about how other people perceive the character. It's about me wanting to have a story featuring the character I made up, not a story about me doing something as that character. My thought process is about what they would do, not what I would do if I were them. So, I understand your distinction. That is also what I do, right? Like, we talked about long ago, we've talked about, like, being able to keep your metagame brain and your in-character brain completely separate very easily, because it's not hard. And so it's the same exact concept. Like, I embody the character, but I am not the character, right? Like, I'm just trying to think as the character by being in the character's shoes. But I know I'm not the character. I'm just trying to do everything from their perspective as best I can.
Yeah.
And so doing it from first person and kind of thinking of myself in that character's shoes helps me out a lot. You know? I do agree that you should define a goal for your character, of course, because real people do have goals. It's not impossible for someone to make a goal of seeking adventure unto itself. But if you go that route, you do need to remember that this is something the character is actively choosing to do, and they must have a reason for that. Playing a thrill seeker or a treasure hunter is not the same as just tuning out until someone needs something needs to be hit with a sword. Yes. If you decide to play the adventure-seeking type of character, you still need to convince your audience, the DM and other players, that this is who your character is. Agreed. Also bear in mind that just because a character has a goal, that doesn't mean they necessarily have to successfully achieve that goal. Yes! A person who fails at what they wanted to do and has to deal with that and eventually accept it can add as much, if not more depth, to a story as seeing someone succeed. You could even purposefully have them set a goal that's much too lofty to attain, and have them eventually have to come to terms with the fact that they won't be able to reach it. Though to be fair with D&D characters, there may not be much that's actually all that unattainable. Possibly up to and including becoming a god, depending on the setting. And that's enough, we'll end it off there, work complete. Yes. I have no goals, therefore I must not exist. Ah! I have no mouth and I must scream, dude.
Yeah.
But yeah, I agree that having them fail something is incredible. If you're willing to take that risk, that can be so good. Because then you could have a character go into despair. Or something, right? Like, and have to figure out what their new, like, lot in life is, and how they, just, settle.
No. That's not what I wanted.
You know?
Mm-hmm.
But yeah. Good points.
Mm-hmm. As usual.
As usual. Well, that's the comments done. So yeah. That's everything for today.
Yeah.
That's it.
That's a wrap. It's a wrap.
That's a wrap. So, thank you again to they have a whole series based on people without goals. It's called Dark Souls. No,
Ah!
that's not true. They have goals. They all have goals, actually.
Yeah, they do.
Yeah, the first one is
It's
to
usually-
escape, and then it becomes kill the things so you can open the things,
Mhm.
and that's it. And then become the Lord of Fire. That's
Yeah.
the whole first game. And
Yep.
then the second one, I don't fucking know. I didn't play it. And then the third one, I don't fucking know. I didn't play it. But also, you gotta stop the new cinders, or also like make them relight or something. Anyway,
You gotta
yeah.
do something.
they all
We
have
don't know.
goals.
We're not really big into Souls likes.
Yeah.
Hell,
Well, no,
even in Monster Hunter, you usually have a goal.
Yeah, I was gonna say they all have goals.
Yeah.
But I like Dark Souls. I just haven't taken the time to like play more than the first one and not even finish it. So,
And I'm not a big fan of Souls likes.
yeah. So,
Unless it's
Thank you.
Remnant.
yeah. Thank you to our patrons, by the way. Again, that is Draco Kraken, Mog Zero, Slazer, Steely, Drake Cross, Chris, Frozen Spaghetti, and Kill Chrono. Really appreciate you. If you want to join in, go for it. And you can get some free dice when they come, or you can wait
Yeah.
until the dice are here. But at that point, if you're not on the list, you don't get them. And that's tier 2 and up. I'm gonna add it into the description of them so that people know. But yeah, if you're at tier 1, you just get that little nice little showing of your name. That's all you really get, and you're just supporting us in that way. So regardless of that, thank you. Dark Souls 2, you go hollow if you have no purpose. Yes, that's true.
Yes.
Oh, okay, yeah. So in general, yeah, everybody, if they don't have a purpose, they fucking die, basically. Anyway, that's it for us for today. We will see you next week. And if we don't see you next week, you'll see it in a community post.
Shit!
Or on the Discord or on the Twitter, whatever you follow. But if you look on the community page now, because we have that now, I think. I didn't look at the actual thing, but I can post community posts, and I posted one today, so
Yeah.
hey! But yeah, so check that to make sure that everything's still going as planned. If you don't see anything updated, I might just be dead. Who knows? But no. So you can find the podcast, if you didn't already know, every Tuesday at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and then again as a VOD on Fridays at 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and as an audio-only version on your podcasting service of choice around noon, unless you're apparently Google Podcasts, which still hadn't done the thing today when I checked. So, come on, Google Podcasts. What are you doing? They still anyway. It's on Spotify, I can tell you that much, and I think probably on the Amazon one as well. And like, we're on a lot of places.
We're everywhere.
We're not everywhere.
You can't
but
escape.
Most. Yeah, you can't escape us. You'll find us.
Yeah.
We'll find you.
Yeah.
Anyway, so yeah, you can find us like that. And if we're not on a podcasting service and you want to find us on a podcasting service, let me know and I'll do my best. And Devils and Dice, we won't have one coming out this week, but we will be doing more hopefully this week to come out next week. Usually goes up on Wednesdays at 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, or whatever it is right now. Who fucking knows? Google is too busy getting me to buy their new phone. That's true.
Yeah.
You specifically. You are the cause of my problems. I'm kidding. Then to share the podcast. Yeah. No, so other than that, we still have that survey out. I haven't checked it as of recently if anybody else has done it yet, but for those of you who have, thank you, and we'll probably just move forward with the information we got from it. So if you missed out at this point, we're done. I'm gonna close it and shit. So thank you to those who did, so I could know some things, and
then we'll announce the results and shame the people who didn't.
No. will not do that. Other than that, look forward to some stuff coming, like the new dice, if you want to contribute to that, whether you donate or join the Patreon or whatever. Yeah, thank you. And some other maybe streams in the future. We will see how it goes.
Yeah, there's one other thing that we might be doing. That could be fun. A little game,
right? Maybe rather
We'll see.
recently. We will see how it goes. We will see when things are sent, but it will be in collaboration with a certain
With
friend of
somebody.
ours,
Yeah.
friend of ours that we talk to and in fact play games with, whether they be tabletop or video games.
Yeah.
And other than that, we might start doing some more stuff like that, just because that's an easy way to actually.
It's an
do
easy
some...
way to make money.
What? No. No, it's just an easier way for additional content for those of us who can't fucking take the time to edit too much. Hello,
Yeah.
I don't have time to edit very
Nobody has
much.
time now.
So maybe we'll be doing more games streams for digital distractions, in the future here.
I just have a smaller clip.
And other than that, we're getting up to season 4, everybody.
Yeah.
Woo!
There we go.
Big stuff. Exciting times we live in, huh? All right. That's enough talking. I need water.
That's enough discussion and discourse.
Yes, I would say so. Proper amount. Good. Hat tip to you. Hat tip to you. Hat tip to you. We will see you next week. Goodbye.
Goodbye.
Bye.